In the anime underworld, crimes against the culture are considered especially heinous. In Otaku City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these violations are part of an elite squad known as the Special Weeb Unit. These are their stories.
Greetings! I am Gator, and welcome to the Anime Boomers podcast. I hope you guys liked
Jesus, that intro was sick.
Yeah, I hope you guys liked that intro in honor of the passing of George Lowe, aka Space Ghost, of legendary show Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, without which the Anime Boomers podcast would not exist, and probably neither would Adult Swim either.
Oh, no, it just wouldn't. It just wouldn't.
That's
your birthed Adult Swim.
It really did. Yeah, I spent so much time working on that one.
Wow, I didn't connect who George Lowe was until just now.
Yep, he was the voice actor behind Space Ghost. And what's funny is he actually portrayed Space Ghost in real life a couple of times too. Like I remember there was this like one convention that he actually went to and got interviewed by CNN. It was like some of the funniest stuff possible.
If I can share, I did a little tribute to him, posted in the Restream chat. But yeah, that news fucked me up. Absolutely fucked me up because I know he had health problems for a little while, and I guess it was kind of inevitable. But I think everybody was kind of hoping he'd
manage to pull through. Yeah,
he did one last appearance as Space Ghost on that Jellystone show.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like that show feels like it is desperately struggling to be cool, but is hampered by being a modern Cartoon Network product.
Yeah, that's the only problem with Cartoon Network is that they let the wrong people kind of take the reins there, and pretty much every show has suffered for it. I mean, didn't they close down the iconic William Street?
Yep. Yeah, I think Adult Swim is basically a separate entity now, like wholly separate.
What it's even like? I haven't even kept up with Cartoon Network for a few years now. What do they have running even at the moment? Do they still have Teen Titans Go running? Because
I think that's it. I'm pretty sure.
Primarily, they're up.
I'm pretty sure that when the heat death of the universe happens, there's only going to be like two things that survive, and one of them will be Teen Titans Go.
It's like Teen Titans Go, and then they take a break for whatever modern audience cartoon that they're running, like Craig of the Creek or whatever the hell they're pushing. They just took so much out of their lineup, and there's no reason to watch the channel anymore, unless you're into Adult Swim.
But hey, you know what? If you're not into Adult Swim,
when I was little watching a show called Young Justice, I think it was, and I think they tried to reboot it a couple times. But that was what I think should have been Teen Titans' actual successor.
Yeah, Young Justice was good. It actually you could tell they actually like gave a crap about it. The animation was good, the storylines were interesting, and it was kind of the natural evolution of Teen Titans. But, you know, once again, Warner Brothers, we can't have anything good.
Yeah. I used to love Cartoon Network, man. Everybody else, all the other kids were watching Nickelodeon back in the day, but not because that Nickelodeon was too much. Like it was supposed to be, you know, oh, it's like a Cartoon Network, like a network that as if it was made by kids, like by kids for kids. It's like I hate kids. As a kid, I was like, no, I want to go on like adventures and shit. And Cartoon Network, it was mostly playing like old cartoons, but those old cartoons were like all these crazy old Hanna-Barbera premises and shit. I was like, yeah, it's adventures,
man. I used to watch the
man.
absolute crap out of Toonami, and anytime they were showing Naruto and stuff like that, when I was like, what was that, like 2011, was like 10, 11 years old.
Yeah, for me, it was. I mean, I'm getting there. I'm getting old, but like I was there for when Cartoon Network was born, and I was watching that shit. And I remember when Space Ghost. I watched Space Ghost Coast to Coast when it aired, man, season 1. And I remember it was like a treasure to catch that show because it was like barely, if at all, advertised. It was like a secret thing that was like late at night. You had to work to catch it.
Exactly.
Like you're a kid trying to watch something that's on at midnight, because it was on at midnight, and it was like nothing else that was on TV, or especially not on Cartoon Network. It was all playing like reruns of kid shows, and then there would be like even just the theme song, that Sonny Sharrock rock music, was like this crazy acid rock shit, and it was like
well, you got late enough with Cartoon Network. It turned into Adult Swim.
Well, this was before Adult Swim.
This was even before that.
Yeah, I remember like the hope back in the day that Cartoon Network would do something like this, because at the time they were just playing like kid stuff, but they would play a lot of kid stuff that had like adult appeal, and I was like, well, why don't you just make a block for adults? And then they did, and it was fucking glorious.
It was
for a
perfect.
While. Like when Adult Swim first started, like it was good for a while, and I don't think it like crashed and burned, but it started to gradually peter out over time. But like before they had the black bumpers with white text, when it was like the stock music with the...
they had Adult Swim, then they got rid of it, then they had it come back for a little bit and got rid of it immediately for favor of a Toonami relaunch, which happened just a few years ago.
I don't think they ever got rid of Adult Swim. They got rid of the anime block. But Adult
Swim has come and gone like twice, but like, because originally it was just like a small segment.
That was pretty much, Toonami was the anime block, wasn't it?
No, yeah, it was Adult Swim, and then they would start slipping in anime.
Right.
They would just mix it in with the other shows. I still remember it's still burned into my head.
Oh, they just slide some in on the side, like some creepy guy leaning out the alley going, hey, you want some anime?
Hey, kid, want to watch some anime?
I remember they led in Adult Swim with Big O, because I remember the song about their schedule, Aqua Teen, Hunger Force, #1 in the hood, G. And like they got at the end of the song, and 11 is Big O. Like that's how I remember.
I remember late night, because my dad would get home late and I would wait up for him, but it would have let me watch Toonami, and this was when I was really, really little, but it let me watch Toonami, and they had old airings of Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, and I think another show. I'm blanking because I'm drawing on really early memories.
Well, I think there's some confusion too. See in the chat, there was Toonami before Adult Swim.
Yes,
it was the original Toonami. Toonami and Adult Swim is sort of a rebirth from nostalgia after they did an April Fool's joke. Because Adult Swim would do like these big April Fool's bits, pretty good April Fool's jokes.
Yeah, Toonami had been gone for like nearly a decade at the point they pulled the Toonami April Fool's joke.
Yeah, and then people loved it. It got massive ratings. People loved it so much. Adult Swim, well, William Street kind of went, y'all want us to like bring this back? Like,
y'all still like anime?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
That kind of went downhill too.
But I remember that. So what happened is like Adult Swim did get removed at one point. I think it's been removed and brought back twice. Like, because the original Adult Swim, you know, they had the ads where it was like all kids out of the pool, it's time for Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the golden age.
The golden age, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah.
Because they got rid of it at one point and they replaced it with Toonami: The Midnight Run, which was where they aired the mostly uncensored versions of cartoons.
Yeah, I think that was the original iteration, and then they had Toonami, and then they had Adult Swim come back.
Yeah, that was pre-Adult Swim, was Toonami Midnight Run.
Yeah.
That predated Adult Swim.
It's been like 100 years. I don't remember the proper timeline.
See, it's funny. I used to move around a lot as a kid. That's how I remember the eras of these, because I remember what house I was in. And I remember like the house where my bedroom was the whole attic. It was awesome. And that was when I was watching Toonami Midnight Run. And I know that was before the house that had the pool. And that one was when I was watching Adult Swim. So I know, that's how I know.
Yeah, because it started, Midnight Run started in 99.
Yeah. But
I remember I always used to be super grossed out when they showed the original Adult Swim, because it was like super duper old people in the pool. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, that was the it was the joke. Is all kids out of the pool and like, it's everybody's old. And
yeah, you're right, because Adult Swim officially launched in 2001.
Yeah. And it was glorious because it was basically like a network of Space Ghost coast to coast, like a whole block.
That was the year I was born.
Yeah, because their first anime broadcast on the block aired the night of its launch, and it was Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop was the first anime that Adult Swim aired, and it was, like I said, that ruined me because like I saw Peak and I could never go back to other anime. Like, why isn't every anime like this? Like, I saw.
I remember seeing an
Cowboy
absolutely unhinged anime. I don't know if it was on Toonami, but it was called Bobo.
Oh yes,
and the guy had like
that was regular
supernatural
Toonami.
nostril hairs.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good example of that. It was funny too because the English dub of that, you could tell they were having a lot of fun.
Yeah, they were.
I enjoyed the localization of that show because I was like, this show is insane. Who fucking cares? Like, they didn't go full Samurai Pizza Cats with it, but they knew when to just say, it doesn't need to be faithful. This is insanity. My favorite bit being when one of the characters fills out a test, and then the other character holds it up, and it shows the answers. And in the original Japanese, they wrote down some funny shit. But because it's in, like, katakana and whatever, in the English, he holds it up and goes, who drew all these squiggles all over the page? So that kind of thing. Like, Bobo was that was a delight, and that was that gave Richard
funny.
That gave Richard Epcar the perfect opportunity to be the large ham he was always born to be. I was actually kind of disappointed. Richard Epcar, as hammy as he could be, he was like the perfect person to cast as old Joseph Joestar. And then when they dubbed Part 3, like, he wasn't hammy enough. I'm like, who is in the director's booth telling Richard Epcar to turn it down? This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Let him loose. Let him go full Bobo in there.
Things that we could have had, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, I should probably do the actual rest of the intro because we've just been chatting about Space Ghost. So I'm joined here by my longtime co-host, Anime Outsider Zone, Cody. How you doing, Cody?
Doing fantastic. I'm doing great, except for the whole George Lowe dying thing. That kind of fucked me up.
Yeah, that kind of messed me up a bit too. And we're joined by the anime law special Weeb unit's own Elfpire Eva, the VTuber vampire elf. How you doing, Eva? Give her just a second.
Hello. I am a yippie. I'm not sure what's going on. Hello, how's it going? Great to be here.
She's on like a 5-second delay because her internet is very bad. So if you hear a little bit of a delay in her responses, that's why.
It's okay. So here's the thing. It's not even HughesNet. It is a sub company of HughesNet called Discovery or something like that.
Oh my God.
Like, so when they start throttling, which like already at peak efficiency, it's like 800 ms. When they start throttling though, they throttle us first.
That's awful.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of Elfpire, Eva just kind of slipping in, or long pauses as we wait just to make sure. This is going to be one Gator's going to have to do a lot of editing on afterward.
For the audio version, yes. But that's okay. You know what? I remember back in the old days where we used to actually stream. We didn't stream this live. We actually streamed, we recorded it. We did still stream it live, but it was only like for members only. And for like people that were on like Patreon and stuff, they could watch us record it live. And then I actually went in after the episode was done, and I used this this Discord bot called Craig. We actually still use it now. I would take all of the audio and I would splice it into the video, match up all the timing and everything so that it, when the thing lights up, it matches the audio and everything, and get it sounding good, looking good, and then I would upload it to YouTube. And that's how it used to be way back in the day. And then we had our first like actual live stream where we invited on Mr. Madiker, and I think we pretty much just started doing all of them live ever since that episode. Yeah, that was, God, it's hard to believe that was like 4 years ago or something. Like it blows my mind. Well, you think about it, like,
wow, so you guys have been doing, how long have you been doing the podcast?
That's a good question. I should go look that up.
It's been so off and on, and like it was only in, I think maybe like last year I'm telling Gator, like, we need to make this regular. Like, if you want this podcast to actually succeed, you kind of need to
do it more than once every 3 months.
Yeah.
So the first episode that we recorded was June 4th, 2021. So as of June 4th, the podcast will officially be 4 years old.
And like I said, I think it's been like maybe a year and a half where it's been regular.
Wow, so you guys started it pretty much during the height of the lockdowns.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was conceived with the idea that, I was on another show and it was kind of wearing thin very rapidly. And so my friend Spooky Weeb Trash said, you're kind of miserable, and I can tell you're kind of miserable. Like, why don't we just start a show where instead of talking about stupid drama and like politics stuff, you just talk about like anime and shit on Anitubers? And I was like, you know what? That sounds awesome. Let's do it. You know what? I've got this buddy. His name is Cody, and he loves doing those things too. And so that was like the first episode was me, Spooky, and Cody just like shooting the shit for like almost 3 hours.
Life is too darn short to just be doom scrolling your whole life.
Yeah, and also, like, I think Gator and I have both become more chill over the years, and I think we were joking when we met up at Anime Matsuri that we got what was it, de-radicalized by VTubers.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like this whole new medium of entertainment that was like full of good vibes came in, and like you spend all these years and most of your laughs are at someone's expense, and then here comes the cute dog girl. It's like, oh, look, my heart is melted. Look at that.
Exactly. I mean, I saw
yeah, I think I remember the first VTuber I came into contact with was actually Snuffy, and I went, what is this, and how can I make my life about it?
Yeah, my first VTuber was Sakura Miko, when I saw her infamous GTA stream, and I was like, oh man, This is awesome.
Oh yeah, that got me too. Me too.
And that's how I found Korone, and then Korone was like my first Oshi, and I still love Korone to this day. In fact, I saw a video of her.
That's really funny. I've had a lot of people been requesting that I play GTA 5.
just
for one scene. Just for one scene.
They want to hear you say a certain word. Don't fall for it.
I know the scene you're talking about. Look, I am a ginger, and that word is just an anagram. So just move a couple letters. I have the card.
Ginger.
They need to know your opinion, Reeve. Ye ass haircuts.
Right, we got a super chat here. This was from Tomak for $20. Says, so Miss Eva, how do you feel about the recent proliferation of the dark elf people? And do you think they may be a threat to the high elf majority population? That's a pretty esoteric question there. We'll give her a second
first
answer.
of all, I don't care about high elves because I am a snow elf born so far north in the mountains that I don't even know about snow elf culture. My culture is more closer to Viking culture, and that village was destroyed by orcs anyway. And during my escape, I was turned into a vampire because they like snow elf blood quite a bit. So I couldn't give a crap about the high elves. The dark elves I've never even met, so.
Yeah, her lore is basically Vinland Saga meets Record of Lodoss War. That's what I'm getting.
That sounds based, actually.
Ooh, we did actually just watch Vinland Saga. Actually, you know what's funny? Eva started out originally as a character for Fallout New Vegas roleplay. She was a member of one of the 87 tribes assimilated by Caesar's Legion. She lived in a tribe about 30 miles outside of Flagstaff. Anyway, yeah, there's like 10,000 plus words of just backstory on that. But then at one point I went, you know what? I'm tired of Fallout. Let's change all the lore to Elder Scrolls.
See, that's what I love about VTubing too, is like when people really take it seriously and they go in and they come up with lore for the characters and backstory. Like I think that is the pure essence of VTubing. And I hate that the Western VTubers have kind of gotten away from that a little bit.
Yeah, I think, well, a lot of them are just streamers that are kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I try to stay in character as much as I can. I mean, part of my meta is also talking about the law and stuff just because of my background, but during a lot of streams and stuff, like if you phrase questions in line with my lore, I will happily answer them in character. But like you said, with the West, there's a lot of times that you just can't be in character. Not nearly as much as the East VTubers I can anyway.
It's not a matter of can't, and it's a matter of won't. Like, I think a lot of these VTubers are just they're just here for the avatar and the VTubing scene. And I think those are the ones, like, every time you hear about these awful VTubers, like in the VTuber
and see,
scene,
that's
it's always
what's funny
one of these kind of
because
people.
Eva has existed as a character since I was 8 years old. So, like VTubing ended up being a medium to just bring this long-standing character of mine that I've like a lot of people when they do D&D and they do roleplay and stuff like that, they'll make a bunch of different characters. I've made one character and tried my goddamn hardest to keep them alive in any campaign I play them in. But it became an easy medium to just put her into when VTubing came up. And I'm like, oh my god, I can make her more alive than she already is to me.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I think the kayfabe is an important part of it, and the ones that don't respect the kayfabe, at least to some degree, are usually they're usually already the kind of VTubers where it's like, I don't want any part of you, because a lot of them are the like Twitch streamer, streamer brain streamers, if you know what I'm saying, that really only here for an avatar. And half the time their avatars are half naked and the proportions are ridiculous.
Oh, you mean the V-tweeters?
Yeah. Well, no, because the V-tweeters don't stream. I'm talking
they don't
about
stream
the
at
ones
all.
Do stream.
He's talking about the, for lack of a better term, the host streamers.
Yeah. And then them are just the, well, I guess they are still host streamers. But there are ones that don't do the hoe experience as much. But I mean, they're still got to talk about their vaginas half the time anyway. It's like, if I talk about inappropriate things, it makes the men blush and more of them watch because my vagina, Amy Schumer shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what's that one female comedian? I'm forgetting
Amy Schumer.
her name.
Amy Schumer.
She made her name on Amy Schumer. Yeah, her.
Yeah, that's half of these VTubers on Twitch. So Twitch is doing its damnedest, and I guess it fits considering VTubers because it's supposed to be YouTube. But the ones on Twitch.
Actually, you know what? Reminds me of an even better one. Is have you guys seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yes.
That episode, the gang breaks Sweet D, where she just gives up on everything, and somehow just through self-depreciation, she becomes hilarious. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of messed up.
That's basically what happens to like every VTuber. That's why we have Pippa, because it's like at a certain point she just gave up and just started becoming funny.
I think it's healthy to have the mix of like being yourself and still being in character. Although, you know, props to I think the ones that really stay in character are Pecora is the biggest female streamer in the world, and boy, oh boy, is she in character.
Whoop, whoop, whoop,
she do not break kayfabe.
No, she does not.
Oh, well, that's the nice thing about my character too is Eva is just me. I am James Cameron avataring my character in a way, but it allows me to be a little bit more real in terms of like, especially my commentary and stuff, while still being silly, especially when I need to.
Yeah, I think that's a good use of the VTubing. I don't want to say shtick. Medium. That's a better word. Yeah, it's I mean, we talk about VTubing more than anime on this podcast, mostly because there's more going on. Hey, what anime did you watch? Did you watch the new Isekai?
If it's Cody, no. If it's me, yes. We got a super chat from
that's the thing.
From Ryrobi. He said for $2.79 Canadian.
I've seen a couple isekais, but I've never actually gotten into very many of them.
Yeah, it's for the best. It's for the best.
I still like some isekai. I like watching my slop every now and then. So
my chat did bully me into starting a watch along of Konosuba, I think it's called. Christ. And so we've watched 2 episodes of that, and I'm just like, what is this madness?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Are you familiar with the Konosuba light novels? The original light novels?
No, I'm not. Are they? No, I'm not at all. And the way you've said that, I'm a little concerned.
Well, you see, the thing I kind of hate Konosuba. I think it's about as funny as a kick to the nuts. But what I do find funny is how hilariously terrible the writing is.
A kick to the nuts is kind of funny to me.
when you're the one getting kicked in the nuts, not so much. I mean, you wouldn't know, but as a man, being kicked in the nuts, I find is as funny as Konosuba. And hello, Sparky's Tech Corner. I just saw that.
Oh, Sparky just rated. Thanks for that, hello. Sparky. What's going on, Sparky's chatters?
Hello, everybody. We're talking about. I'm about to tell Elfpire Eva here.
Hello, AI Mr. Medicore, aka Sparky's Tech.
That's right.
I'm about to tell Elfpire Eva here. The little thing nobody really talks about with Konosuba. Because as much as I don't find it funny, the one thing I do find funny is the writing of the original light novel, because there is an epidemic. We've mentioned it on the podcast a couple times. Some people know, some people don't, of light novels in Japan where the people writing them are actually pretty incompetent. They get a publishing gig because they write on that like amateur novel writing site Japan has, where most of them come from these days. And there's like their light novel will be really popular. It's like Japanese AO3, but it's like original instead of fan fiction. Most of your favorites probably come from that website. And it'll get really big there, so they give them a publishing deal, but then these people are kind of bad writers, so they've got like one draft in them and nothing. And so like their editors usually have to write most of the novel for them. Konosuba is especially funny because the writing, it reads like it was written by a 12-year-old, but it was written by a grown man. My personal favorite is when it is the line, the lake, which is the large body of water. That just like the more I think about that very simple line, just kills me. Like
sorry,
that's the kind of writing.
Just had that meme where like the person closes their eyes and then like looks again as if like confirming I heard what I just freaking heard.
Yeah.
The lake as in the large body. What? Repeat the line exactly as you said it, so I can will the blood back into my nose.
The lake, which was the large body of water. That's the writing in Konosuba. The light novels.
It's nothing
so
if
bad.
not descriptory, I guess. That's not a word.
And then like the way it's framed, like the paragraphs in the Konosuba light novels are like 2 lines, 3 lines each. It reads. I have seen fan fiction. That reads better.
Says lake could have been made of blood. Gotta explain it. was made out of water. Look, this isn't DBZA, okay? Oh yes, he made a terrible method of blood fountain. Doesn't look bad to me. It used to be water.
It the Konosuba light novels, like he describes nothing until he describes everything. Every paragraph is 2 or 3 sentences long that are like kindergartner to second grade reading level. It's hysterically bad. It's like the light novel equivalent of like the kind of things they would riff on in MST3K. It's like shot on VH.
I haven't watched another episode in a while because I'm kind of like with this anime, but like we just came across the episode where that cleric or the girl who can take a beating and likes it, and I'm like, who freaking wrote this character?
See, she's a fetish character. You see, she's into being humiliated and abused.
That's like too much goddamn Japanese humor, including Konosuba.
They
like,
all
what's your one joke?
Though. Well, except for maybe Aqua. I haven't seen anything like hyperfixation with her, but like Megamin and the cleric, crazy night girl, like both of them are a little weird.
Well, that's like the Japanese thing. Is like, oh, you got one joke. Do your one joke. Keep doing your one joke. Don't you do anything else but your one joke. What's your joke? Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Yeah, I like this from JP Ravenfire. Chai says the joke is that they're all kind of odd and useless. Yeah, pretty much. And yet they keep like stumbling and bumbling like your D&D party into accidentally saving the day. I guess because the DM gets tired of your BS. And rather than rocks falling, he just wants to finish it.
I know the creator came out and said that it wasn't based on, but I do love Delicious and Dungeon as far as like dungeon crawler animes.
You see, what Delicious and Dungeon gets right is that it feels like D&D without being directly inspired by it.
I haven't seen it. Like I've said before, I don't want to. It's got too many things that piss me off. But I can respect that it does seem to like take its shit seriously. Like I can see the thought put into it, and it's like characters and all that. It's not doing the what's your one thing. Base your character on your one thing. Like there's some stuff that does the one thing. If you can like pull it off right, that's fine. But I think Japan does that a little too much, and it bleeds into the people that watch anime start doing their own stuff, and it does the same thing where. If you like your typical fan fiction where people will have one thing they do and they just every action they take is based on the one thing. Like if that guy's fat and likes food, everything he does is based on food, or that he's hungry. They could be being chased by Jason Voorhees and he's thinking like, man, I could go for a cheeseburger right now. Like, bro, you're being chased by a dude with a knife. But nah, he's the fat guy that eats. He's got to be thinking about food because that's his one thing.
That does remind me of that one meme where it says Japan's view of Americans, and it's literally party in the USA, and everyone's just firing guns into the air and just going literally batshit crazy.
I love their view of Americans personally. I think their view of Americans is, if anything, we're not going far enough.
We should be the Americans that the Japanese believe us to be.
One of my favorite depictions of your average American is the old Yu-Gi-Oh! What was his name?
Bandit Keith.
Keith, I think it was. The guy with the USA bandana.
Well, that was the old Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series. I think implanted him into people's minds because as much as the Abridged series have aged poorly, some stuff kind of sticks in the zeitgeist. And his like in America.
Well, he did, but here's the thing. I remember like watching like even the WB Kids version of it. Like he wore the American bandana. He wore a leather jacket. He was a biker. Like he was every stereotype that I imagine that like Japanese people thought of Americans at that time.
Well, in the original Japanese version, he also pulled out a gun. So
that's true too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Holy shit, did he really? He just freaking pulled out a gun? What?
Yeah. He pulls out a gun on I forget who he threatens to shoot, but he like just whips out a gun. Like, damn, man. He's like the one thing he was missing. And there it is.
Oh yeah, you're about to have no life points left. Let me tell you.
I draw bullet in attack mode for all your life points.
Oh yeah, it was.
I cast gun. Prepare to meet God.
It was Pegasus, and 4 kids removed the gun, so he's holding an invisible gun.
I'm pretty sure Banny Keith had one too. Yu-Gi-Oh was darker than people remember. Because people forget the manga was pretty dark. The anime kind of lightened up as it was becoming more of a...
Yu-Gi-Oh was a lot darker than people, and like, I mean, they did that weird censorship all the time. Like, I remember in the Sand Saga, they had, I think it was Nappa blows up that ship.
Oh,
it clearly has people in it, and they just dubbed going, "Oh my God, they blew up the cargo robot."
Yeah, I remember they did all like they drew in people that were parachuted had parachuted out. There was some ridiculous because it was because of Power Rangers. That's why they did a lot of that censorship, because a lot of kids media was in hot water at the time because of Power Rangers. And like kids doing martial arts on each other.
This is amazing. You brought it up. That is true.
He was supposed to be holding a gun there.
Aggressively at the guy.
Of course, the American pulls out a gun.
In America.
I object strongly to this. In America.
Banner Keith is just exercising his Second Amendment rights
to bear his arms and point.
Actually, right now, he's actually just it's First Amendment. He's just expressing himself quite strongly, but still.
They censored it from down one amendment, basically.
Right, they dropped an amendment down.
Yeah.
So Right Roby for 279 Canadian says, so you guys were here during the VTube boom. Nice. Yep. Actually, our first episode, we talked about VTubers, actually. That was a large segment of that episode.
I distinctly remember one of the first episodes involved me arguing with a certain
Minnesota attorney.
Yeah.
Who may not be practicing as much anymore.
Yeah, over whether VTubers were based or cringe. And I like to think that... in retrospect, we all know who won that one.
Well, I believe his perspective was that this was like
that one.
If I'm remembering because we actually have it clipped out on the channel.
I have to ask, was this Crackett's?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. He was a guest on our second episode, actually.
Okay, I didn't. Wow, I knew it. I knew. Wow, that's wild.
He was making fun of VTubers. I was on the of the mindset that VTubers are based, and I mean, I'm kind of doing a victory lap right now. Yeah. We all know which one of us won that one.
This is very true.
Than one.
Yeah, I mean, look. Anybody who ever had any difference of opinion with Rackets is doing several victory laps right now.
Yeah, I can actually play a little bit of this clip. This was... God, when was this? This was... Let me see. Let me go back in the stream archive here when we recorded this episode. It was June 26th, 2021, when this particular episode was recorded. That's crazy.
That's a whole presidential administration ago.
Yeah, yes, it was. We'll play just a little bit of it for you so you can listen to this argument between Cody and Nick.
VTubers, if I get my Japanese entertainment fix.
I mean, that's technically anime.
Why are you
right?
not a VTuber yet, Rick Ricada?
Because that's degenerate.
We had this discussion already on your show.
Yep.
Well, how did it go? Give me a TLDR.
I don't remember what I said, but let me just suggest
That's degenerate.
Clout chasing art.
Rickety Crackets, listen, man. I think Game recognized game, so he might have a point.
Hey, look, it's degenerate, but we love it.
It's only degenerate if you're on Twitch.
That's true. And wholesome otherwise.
Yeah.
We had this discussion already on your show.
Yep.
Well, how did it go? Give me a TLDR.
I don't remember what I said, but let me just suggest I said that it's degenerate.
I explained Rash because I know he had that one guy on, that annoying Nux Taku guy, about it, and I can't even imagine
You hate Nux Taku.
I can't take him, man. I assume he painted as like, it's anime girls, but real. Vindicated. It's amazing, but no, it's
that's a pretty really spot on impression.
Yeah. It's just really good streamers that
I
Avatar.
did used to watch Nux Taku. I don't anymore, but I used to.
Yeah, he's way too, like, even without the other stuff that made him look bad, it's just too goddamn try hard and desperate to be liked, and I just could not stand him. He was like that annoying, like, I remember back in high school, there was always that guy that if you were with a group of dudes, there was that one guy that wanted to be in the group, and instead of just casually entering the conversation and being cool, he's like, what are you doing, guys? What's going on? Can I join? Can I join? It's like, I guess, just don't be annoying. Okay, and then he'd proceed to be annoying. That was Nux Taku. I can't stand him.
I can feel my blood pressure rising when you do that voice, because, like, I was a loner type who, like, wore a black hoodie and read a book all the time, and, like, those types of people are like, hey, want to hang out? I'm like, yo, God, no, please.
See, I was the opposite. I was like, I was kind of a solitary guy. I was more of I was like conversationally utilitarian. I was quiet because I had nothing to say. And then, like, in, latter couple years of high school, I was a social butterfly. I was one of the popular kids, and I remember there was always, man, you get like a couple guys together, just like going out in the neighborhood or whatever, but there'd always be that one motherfucker. He'd be somebody's brother, cousin, or one of the guys from class that was not awkward, but like the weirdo with like problems.
Someone that you can't send away, because then he'll tell someone's mom, and then you get a lecture, and it's like, God damn it, he's annoying, but at least we don't have to deal with that if we bring him along.
It wasn't even that. It was just like, whatever. It's too much of a hassle to tell him to go fuck off. It's like, we want to hang out, and the guys want to play some Halo and some DBZ Budokai.
Did you have a Gale the Snail? Did you have to salt the snail?
No, it was just like, what you usually do is you end up with this guy, and he'd be annoying. He'd keep trying to be funny the whole time, and he's like trying to crack whatever joke comes to mind, like, and he'd like always do that sound too. He'd do a joke, and then he'd try to, I think, provide his own laugh track. So it'd be like so like, that's what she said, right? Always the after his own joke. It was just like so many guys, all the same dude.
Oh my God.
Mutahar does that too, actually, now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, that the attempt to signal you to laugh at their joke.
Yes, Mutahar has the borderline insanity laugh.
It drives me crazy. It drives me fucking crazy. Like, there's one thing if you say something, it comes to mind so fast that you laugh at your own joke. That's just something people do. It's a dorky thing, but everybody does it. But it's the regular habit of it. Of you tell a joke, followed by and it's like, sort of fucking, especially if you know it's coming, like, oh, here she's saying the joke, you can tell by the tone of voice, and then you're just waiting for the and he actually does the you want to kill him. There's something about the fact that you knew it was coming, and then it came, and you're like, fuck. And you're nobody wants to start, because if you kick him out and tell him to shut the fuck up, if you do the,
is he a bigger buzzkill than Buzz Killington?
You know what it is? That if you remember the infamous Games Done Quick clip of the I would rather you be quiet.
Yes. Oh my
clip,
God. Oh my God.
That was was way more common than you'd think back in high school. Like, holy shit. That was like, there's always, but nobody had it in them to say I would prefer you be quiet, because everybody was a teenage boy. Nobody was like that cool about it. If anybody said something to this guy, it was going to be, would you shut the fuck up? God!
You had to get a bully who is willing to say something, and then, like, the mob mentality would take over, and then, like, they'd be corrected through bullying. But, like, you had to have someone who is willing to call somebody out, and that's few and far between. And the people who were willing to call people out would usually go too far with it.
Exactly. So you just kind of put up with him, and then when he'd leave the room, everybody'd be like, God, thank God, fuck that guy. Who brought him? Why did we let him come?
You know, we had one of those guys in our high school, and he had started dating this girl, And I remember one time she had threatened to break up with him, and he freaked out about it. And we had an area where there were like 2 levels of the school because it was so hilly. And he got on the edge where like there was stairs that led down to the lower area, which is where all the sports fields were. And this was enough of a flight of stairs that there was a elevator for like if you were disabled. He got on this like railing. He said, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna jump." He was just fucking around, but he slipped and actually fell right in front of me and like 3 others as we were heading out of class. I just watched him just fall on my. Oh my god, he broke his legs, of course, but he was that kind of guy who was so obnoxiously having to be a part of things that like he was willing to injure himself to be included.
That's what I couldn't stand Nux, because I just saw every one of those guys in him. Like the guy, like it's clear that Nux Taku did not have friends growing up and really wants some. And I feel bad for him if that is the case, if my intuition is correct. But at the same time, this desperation is so off-putting. I can't.
One thing I do feel bad about Nux, and also I don't feel quite as bad as I would for the normal person, but he has been backstabbed and thrown under the bus so many times by so many people. I'm like, dude, you gotta learn this lesson at one point. Like, how are you surrounding yourself with people who just consistently screw you over?
Desperate for friends. Like he won't vet people. He's just like, "You're talking to me? Oh my god, I have a friend." It's like that's so he just gets fucked over because he doesn't know how to sort people.
He can't tell the difference between somebody that's like trying to get clout and they see him as a vehicle for it versus people that just like want to like shoot the shit with people and just talk about random stuff. Like he can't discern that difference.
It doesn't help that he's clearly
and
like,
the problem
socially...
is he chases clout as well. I mean,
oh yeah.
I don't really care about one way or another his interactions with the say Shadman, you know, but like something chose to ask for an interview, even if it was with intent to troll the guy. Like you wouldn't. It's like the Sonichu medallion. The only type of person who would put on the Sonichu medallion for clout is a type of person who has stuff in their past that they don't want exposed. Like it's like a weird psychological phenomenon.
It's almost like they put the medallion on to just try to be like, you know, oh, I can bypass the curse no matter, you know, what obstacles, no matter what's in my past, it's not going to get me. And every single time it has, without exception.
Originally, it was a lot of people, oh my god, I'm so funny, ironic, I'm being the Christian. I've
known people who put on the digital asset and ended up canceled shortly after.
I mean, there's a reason Pippa had to do an exorcism.
Yeah, and it seems to have worked.
Yeah. But no, with Nux, it's and also the problem is too is like he's clearly socially maladjusted. I don't know if it's probably autism, but it might be something else. And then you combine that with the fact that it's very clear this is a guy that is clearly porn addicted and is in that sort of like that stupid thing that a lot of the fandom does where they think it's like being porn addicted makes you quote unquote cultured. And like no, jacking off to hentai is my personality. I know all the codes for that one website, the numerical codes. So he's like, and so he gets so caught up in that I don't think he's a pedophile, but I think he's stupid, and he doesn't see, because he's so caught up in that culture that he doesn't see the implications of things. It's like lolly, right? We've talked about lolly's a gray, like it's complicated. It's, you know, I'm not going to blanket condemn everybody into lolly, but at the same time, I'm not going to pretend like it ain't what it is. It's complicated. But he doesn't understand that. So it's like, lolly, incest, all my favorite tags. And then he doesn't understand, like...
Well, no,
you're being very flippant about lolly and incest.
Well, that's the thing. He does, and the problem is he, like, realized how this isn't good for my brand, which is why he rapidly changed all of those old-school thumbnails. Like, those old-school thumbnails, like him simping over Gargura and stuff like that, those are, like, I remember watching some of those videos back then. So when, like, I rediscovered him a little bit later and saw all those thumbnails of God, I'm like, is this the same guy? Turns out it was. It's just he tried rapidly to basically veil his past because he saw a shift in the culture. And right now the culture is absolutely dominated by tourists who can't understand what the actual definitions of certain words are, like lolly or anything like that. I'm not going to get into it. Like you said, it's complicated, but it's definitely not nearly as simple as people on X try to make it.
Again, I'm not gonna blanket condemn everybody, but I'm not gonna pretend like there ain't a lot of sexualized preschoolers. But the thing with him is, like, again, he was so deep. Like, he's realized it now that he's caught all this blowback. He's running scared. But it's not that he would, like, he's a degenerate, but he's just a dunce. Like, he's harmless. He's not gonna groom anybody. He's just a stupid, porn-addicted young guy that's, like, too steeped in this anime hentai culture shit. That's like, the joke is porn. Look, I cropped a hentai. It's the same shit the furries were doing. I've said before.
I mean, right now, from what I've seen of his recent content that I'm scrolling through, it seems like right now he's so focused on Hassan. Like, Jesus Christ, Hassan is 100% fucked, 150%, 200, 250. Like, he's got like 5. Like, he's just doing commentary, clout stuff. Like, he's almost Chud Logic in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just trying to get people to like him again, and it's all it is. It's
Chud
the same
Logic,
thing. Please
that's
like
a
me.
guy.
Yeah, please like me. Please like me. I need you to like me. That's Nux. That's his entire. That's everything about Nux Taku. He is a lonely little pervert that desperately wants to be loved and goes about it the wrong way. And I feel bad for him, except he tests my patience, and it hampers my sympathy. And he really annoys me, which prevents me from feeling as bad for him as I otherwise would.
For him, in the same way I feel bad for someone who's like in a test and they keep touching the cheese that's electrified, and I can get this cheese. Like, dude, try the other cheese. It's like, no, I want this cheese. Well, there's nothing I can do to help you. You are choosing your own pain.
Yeah, it's. I that's why it at the time. See, when that clip was done, we were still buddies with Rackets, and Rackets. I mean, like, he was doing the degenerate stuff behind the scenes, but no one really knew at the time.
Yeah.
And
he hadn't blown up yet because it was 2021. Yeah. So, like, the Vic stuff was still in full swing, and he got a huge bounce off of that.
I think that was.
But this was like before the Depp trial.
Yeah. My timeline on that was kind of foggy.
Yeah, so he may have been doing it, but it wasn't.
Yeah, he did a lot of reaction to the Depp trial stuff as well.
Yeah, I think he hadn't even gone full degenerate yet. Because there was a time. Look, Rackets used to be cool, but fame breaks people, and he was one of them, unfortunately. We've seen it's a song as old as time. YouTube makes it way too easy for motherfuckers to get famous and then get
crash out immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be you had to be a rock star for that shit to happen, or become a celebrity, or get on TV to become a fame warped motherfucker. But now YouTube just lets you play some Minecraft and do it.
The human brain is designed to handle fame on those levels, which is another part of why VTubing is something that appeals to me, because it allows you to create an extra layer of separation.
I think that's why a lot of big VTubers are, haven't gone off the rails. Like Gargura is still down to earth. She is the VTuber, but I mean, you could tell it's getting to her. The fame is getting to her, but in a different way. It's why she barely streams anymore. But she's not. She's not trying to hit up minors on Discord.
Well, she has health issues and stuff as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background there that we can. Well, yeah, definitely not doing anything like that.
Yeah. So, but Nick was another example of fame getting to people. This is before, because like he had when VTubers first started becoming a thing, he had Nux Taku on to talk about the rise of VTubers. I remember seeing that. I was like, Nick, no, he is the worst person to explain this, because I know what he's going to say. He's going to be like, VTubing is popular because your waifus are real now. I was like, that's not why it's fucking popular.
Oh, geez,
fucking
remember when
degenerate
Nux
brain rot
covered
weeb.
VTuber dramas with Moist Critical? It created that whole Bungo Taiga situation.
Yeah, it was like, no, the reason they're popular, it's streamers playing a character, and that's fun, and they add a layer of fun there that you don't get. And the cream rises to the top because when everybody's a cute anime girl, nobody is. So now you have to be entertaining. It creates an environment where the cream rises to the top.
The ball is rolling uphill now. The big thing, like, if you even think about, like, before VTubers, the most popular streamers were people like Jacksepticeye or PewDiePie, or Markiplier, like these characters of people who, it's them, but they are extremely energized. They have a gimmick. So VTubing is just more of that, only just more focused because you can do way more with these models.
Yeah, it's just an evolution of the silliness of a lot of like streaming and YouTube and all that. I think the main issue I had earlier on is just when people were trying to explain the appeal. Like, I felt the appeal was obvious, but no one was getting it right. I had to go place to fucking place explaining what the deal with VTubers is, and to all my friends at the time, like when it was first blowing up, and telling them about it. And I was just trying to, like, because no one, it was so simple. It's just, it's people stream as a character, and it blows up because it creates an environment where the cream rises to the top, where it's more of a meritocracy than like other forms of streaming, especially streaming involving women, where you can be dog shit, but you put your tits out and a bunch of horny teenage boys and pathetic lesser men are all, at your beck and call.
Or even worse, you do something like, in public stream, and you got weird people like approaching you or attacking you, and
like Imaru and Valkyrie and all them.
Then you have people in chat going, that's just staged. And it's like, look, all of that and all of that mess is exactly why people will not like see my face with my consent.
And it's also like, I think VTubing came along at the right time too, because it was just a feel-good kind of entertainment. Like, a lot of the big VTubers at the time were much more genuine people than a lot of the YouTubers at the time. People are knee-deep in all this YouTube drama, and this guy's a groomer, and this guy's a groomer, and this guy's a grifter, and this guy's a grifter. And then here comes the dog girl who just wants to make you smile, and is like, finds out she's big in English-speaking countries, so she takes it upon herself to learn English. Like, a lot of people wouldn't do that. And, audiences resonated with that. Like, wait, there's no bullshit here. There's no ulterior motives. You're not trying to grift for YouTube monies. You're just being funny and trying to make people smile and have a good time and just a feel-good atmosphere. Like,
I mean, just think of all of the great Korone clips where she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm die. Thank you forever."
Yeah,
and ikambokum.
It was like, God, like. It was a shot of wholesome entertainment when we desperately needed wholesome entertainment, not just because of the lockdowns, but because YouTube had become just such a cynical cesspool, and the internet as a whole were just so overwhelmingly cynical. And then here came HoloLive with VTubing, and like HoloLive's brand of VTubing is very wholesome. And then it's like, that's why it felt like coming up for air. It's like, you just watched some Mr. Medicare video on some degenerate diaper dude, and then. Like, he's like, that was really funny, but like the world sucks right now because you're exposed to that. Like, you need these to come up for air. Oh, here's just something. Here's the wholesome dog girl. Look at her play Doom.
Yeah, that's kind of like what my content follows. Like, Tuesdays and Thursdays we do react content, which can get kind of heavy, but like the other 3 days of the week we're doing gaming streams and just having a good time.
Yeah. And I think and even when, like, now you have VTubers that do commentary, like Kirsha, and that's fine. The medium has grown so much that it's gone into different sectors. But even then, like, I think a lot of the biggest VTubers are a lot more genuine and appreciative of their audience. There's an infamous clip comparing the one female streamer to Callie. The female streamer's like, "You don't have $5?" Or is Callie like crying after getting all these red super chats and like, don't give me anything if you can't afford it. You don't have to. Just watching me is enough.
Yeah, no, that's actually extremely true. I was surprised that someone's like, "You don't have $5?" I'm like, you don't deserve an audience if that's your attitude. Jesus.
Yeah, and I think that was, in a nutshell, one of the big reasons VTubing blew up. Was just that vibe, and like the internet needed that. Like the internet had become so cynical that when that came along, like, yes, thank you, thank God, good wholesome entertainment. Where has this been for the last several years? It really did feel like you were being held underwater in a swamp, and then you just finally came up like, like that was Hololive when Hololive hit. That was the coming out of the water. Like, oh my God, joy and smiles. I forgot what this felt like as an adult.
Speaking of everybody's first VTubers here, this is Ryoryobe with another super chat for $13.99 Canadian. Says, I must confess my first Oshi was Aniji Hanamakia because her and her father's duo dynamic while playing Doom was so entertaining. Hana even had an appearance, Mick Gordon, the musician of Doom, in chat. And that's another fun thing about VTubers is that a lot of times, whoops, I didn't mean to hit play there. A lot of times that people like they actually like work on the game will show up in chat. Like I remember like Doki Birds had that happen a ton where like the actual creators of the game will show up in her chat. Like it happened with her in Apex Legends. I think the Marvel Rivals devs talk to her now too. You know,
the best ones though were two specific instances with Korone, who is probably my second favorite VTuber. If Pipkin Pippa did not exist, Korone would be my Oshi. Was when the composer, one of the legendary composers of all time for ActRaiser, I forget his fucking name. It is escaping me now. It's like my brain knew. Calling him legendary. Wouldn't it be funny if you forgot his name and then just took it out of my brain?
Yuzo Koshiro?
Yes. Made her an original BGM track.
Okay, that's dope. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, she's had as background music on her streams a couple times, and I think that game the Small Ame platformer game used that for a stage BGM for Corona stage. Yeah, it made her a completely original piece of music. And when she was playing that one indie game, it was like you click on things and all the sound effects were done by like people's mouth, like you know, all that stuff. And you're trying to click, I forget what it's called, but it's like all black and white. And she clicked on I think it was a vulture, and just laughed so hard it sounded like she was going to throw up at just the sound, the mouth sound of the vulture. So she kept hitting it and making herself laugh, and this went on for several minutes. So the dev of the game gave her the original audio file of that vulture sound.
That's so awesome.
And did it midstream. So she pulled it up and then just pulled it up at the end of her stream and just started playing it. It was great. It was hilarious. There's clips, you can find it. I wish I could remember what the game was called. It was like some Where's Waldo type game.
I have to look it up.
Yeah, those are the two best and that I've ever seen personally. That and of course Hanamakia getting a visit from Mick Gordon, like that's a legend.
We got Tomac for $20 says, we all know that Senator Armstrong is peak American. Also, Gator, thanks for helping me with those spam bots. Yeah, no problem, buddy. Yeah, those things are annoying. And Sparky's Tech Corner for $5 says, Brock, these donuts are great. Jelly-filled are my favorite.
Senator Armstrong, is that the one who's, my sources, I made it the fuck up?
My sources, yes. I made it the fuck up. Yeah, that's him. Well, if it isn't Sussy Jack. We're making the mother of all omelets, Jack.
Making the mother of all omelets here, egg. Jack. Can't afford to cry over every egg.
Yep. It's crazy too when you actually play the game. He's only in that end game and one other cutscene.
Yeah, that's it. He's the most popular character and just stole the show at the end of the game.
Yeah, he's in one other cutscene where it's revealed, you know, he's the senator behind everything. I don't even think people expected to fight him. They just thought, oh yeah, it's a politician that's actually running the whole thing. And then he shows up at the end, and then absolutely steals the show. It's like,
it's a politician. Why do I hear boss music?
Nanomachine, son. That's why.
Nanomachine, son.
Can I say, by the way, brilliant thing this game does? It's like all the boss themes, you know, they're vocals, and all the vocals, boss songs, are from the perspective of the boss. So because Senator Armstrong's a two-phase fight, the first phase is his false motivation, what he says his motivation is, and then you have the cutscene where he reveals his true goals and what he's really after, and then in the actual final battle, the vocals, the lyrics are his true motivation, like what he's really feeling, not what he's. So the first song was a lie, although it's still a banger, and then the second phase song is the truth, and that was really nice touch. I gotta hand it to them. I just had to point out that because no one appreciates that enough. I don't see anybody. People talk about the boss songs in Metal Gear Rising. They never talks about that, so I'm gonna talk about it. Damn it!
And this is why I miss having Hideo Kojima at Konami, because
I remember
we missed that stuff.
One of my earliest memories was actually the my dad playing one of the original Metal Gear Solid games, and I remember was one of the ones where you reached a certain point, and without any indication, there was a point in the game where you had to plug the controller into the second
Psycho Mantis fight.
Psycho Mantis boss fight, yeah, Psycho Mantis boss fight.
Yeah, and that's one of my earliest memories is him playing that game and having a blast for a while, but then just rage because he could not figure that part out.
You had to plug in the controller.
You have to call the colonel, and the colonel will tell you, Snake, plug the controller into the second port. It's like
there was some wild stuff, man.
Yeah, like there was if you had a mono TV, they actually like crap talk you in the Hind D fight, because you're supposed to use the stereo to tell which direction the Hind is coming from, but if you have a mono TV, you can't hear the difference. So you'll actually get a slightly different cutscene where they'll be like, a mono TV. It's like, well, it doesn't matter how poor you are. It's like, oh, it's like, wow, okay.
He did some innovative shit. It's kind of a shame that turns out he's got that George Lucas syndrome where he needs somebody to tell him no. Because ever since then, he's just been kind of going off the rails. Like, Kojima, what is this? What is this about? What is Death Stranding about, Kojima?
I think there's a lot of people who have that syndrome where you just need, like, just someone to, like, occasionally tap the person's shoulder and go, hey, come on, man. This isn't a good idea. What are you doing?
Yeah, like, Kojima, you need a point. You need a point. Don't just hire every celebrity you saw in the last couple movies you watched. Have some manner of point. I mean, he did kind of go, like, the bigger he got, I don't know if it went to his head.
Speaking of hiring every celebrity you saw in the recent past, have you guys been watching the new season of Invincible? I find it hilarious that Aaron Paul and the guy who plays Mike in Breaking Bad are both super powered characters in the new season of Invincible.
I have not seen Invincible. I read the comic a long time ago. And like little things about the adaptation put me off so much that I just never watched the show. I didn't like what they did by like combining two characters into a worse character with his girlfriend. And there's some other stuff like I mean, I think it's since then been a pretty faithful adaptation.
I would say this, that you could skip a lot of season 1, especially Amber. Season 2 has a lot less Amber, and so far season 3 only has Amber in like one scene.
Yeah, it's just the Amber pissed me off. She was just such a divergence from the comics. And there was one joke from the comics you couldn't really do animated, and the show's
Amber
version.
Amber pissed me off extremely because, like, in the actual video, not the video, I'm sorry, but the show, she there's this point like Amber's getting pissed off because Mark keeps bailing on dates and stuff because he's saving the world, and at a certain point he comes out to her and reveals it, and she goes, "I know you." She is still mad at him and is upset. It's like, well, I'm not mad that you're a superhero. I'm mad that you lied. I'm like, are you fucking, like, he is literally saving lives and you're like choosing these weird freaking lines. Like, get out of here with that.
Yeah, it's and her reaction, the original Amber's reaction was the complete opposite in the comic. And there was one joke in the comic that you couldn't really do animated, and the show's version was kind of lame. where it was he was making fun of lazy comic production, where it was just copied panels, and it's like, yeah, he's like, how do you make all your like his there was like a comic artist that was like a stand-in for the creator.
Oh, you could probably translate that into a lazy animation joke. You could do that, but it would be difficult. Like,
what they did,
like, could you imagine them like walking down, like, well, you know, the animators didn't have time to replace the background. It's like the Flintstone style, like repeating background.
Well, what they did in the show, so the comic joke was he was talking to the comic artist at Comic-Con, and it was a stand-in for the creator to make this joke, where he's like, how do you get it done on time? Well, most of the time I just take the same panel and just copy it multiple times to fill space. And then it's like a silent beat, but it's the same panel copied 3 times of like the reaction of the guy. It's like panel. It's like, don't you think that's a little lazy? And it's the same panel of the comic author.
Oh, okay.
3 times.
That's pretty funny. That's actually really funny.
Yeah, it's like him 3 times and then go, not really. You can probably find if you Google it. It's easy page to find. It's kind of a famous page. So what they did in the show, it's just this yammering on about animation for a show. Like, instead of a comic, it's a show, and yammering on about how hard animation is. Like, it was somebody on the
you're right.
I
remember that
blog
scene
post.
that you're talking about.
It was so cringe. Yeah, it was so cringe. So like the things like that. Things like that, it just made me hesitant to check out Invincible. It's like, man, the comic, like, I don't even like superhero comics, and I really liked Invincible. So, like, it was like a lot of really cool, clever things, good story, you know.
Look,
I like the direction it went in.
The action is amazing.
Oh yeah,
Mark's growth, amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
that's all there in the comic.
Scenes are still great, but I will say that there is. If I had read the comics first, well, actually, I will say this: the art style is better. They just went in a general better direction than the comics for their art. Like, I like most everyone's design better in the animation than I do in the comic.
See, I agree, because the art is so like, I love the amount of detail. Like, there's just so much detail in the art while still effectively appearing animated and in motion. Like, it still has.
Yeah, there's not as much, but like the characters seem almost blocky, squarish. Like, for instance, like Cecil, is like, he almost has a fat head, you know, and he looks just better anatomically. Like, just like the proportions on the body just seem a little bit better. But I will say the animation is nowhere near as detailed as the comics are.
Yeah, the art for Invincible is just like, I mean, Ryan Otley was the artist for most of Invincible, and yeah, he does kind of have an angular art style, but I mean, he's one of my favorite comic artists. Like, the fact that he can do both insane amounts of detail and expression, like it's both real and cartoony at the same time, in a way a lot of people struggle to do. And
yes,
he just does
very much like
absolutely.
The expressiveness of his characters, because they do have they're not like bazooka cartoons where, like, oh my god, it's anime or something else with like naturally hyperbolized expressions. Like, there's a realistic, like, direction to his art style that still allows for extremely good detailed facial expressions. I agree.
And the fact that he's able to do stylized and realistic and like detailed and animated at the same time it's an absolute accomplishment. Ryan Otley is one of the best, period. And that's like, so it's like you're trying to. So I'm looking at the animation and it's like, it's kind of the same problem.
I am very excited. Next week is Conquest versus Mark, and I cannot fucking wait. Like, we just went through the first Invincible War. And look, I will say, like, as better as the comics are, just story wise and like character decision wise, the fights are so awesome to see animated.
Yeah, I have the same problem with the Invincible adaptation as I do like any adaptation of Berserk. It's like, how do you animate art like that? Like, it's a tall order. Although the Invincible adaptation does seem to have fared a lot better than the adaptations of.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's extremely fair.
Berserk. Now I haven't followed the Invincible adaptation. Have they done what the hell was that guy's name? The well-known villain from Invincible. Not Omni-Man, but the guy that's from his plans, like Craw Creeks K something. Shit, what was his name? He was like one of the biggest arc villains in Invincible. He's another one of their. Shit, it's been a while since I read it.
Are you talking about Battle Beast? No, maybe. What does he look like?
Craig? No, it's like he looks like basically a bigger.
Thrag, is that it?
Thrag, that was it. Thrag. Have they gotten to Thrag yet? I'm guessing not.
Thrag. Yeah, no, they haven't got to Thrag yet. We just got to Conquest. There's a scene in, I'm sure you remember the panel, where he's like, "Stand ready for my arrival, worm."
Okay, yeah, Thrag was awesome. Thrag is basically worse Giga Chad Omni-Man. He's a dude that populated an entire race.
Thrag is the most powerful Viltruman, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He fucking took over this race of bug people and impregnated all of their women to create an entire new race. Is an entire race. Yeah, and he's very, very, very obviously based on Freddie.
Christ.
Very obviously based on Freddie Mercury.
This man is just Genghis Khan the Viltrumite.
Yes, and he's very obviously physically, I think he was confirmed to be designed based on Freddie Mercury. So it's like Freddie Mercury if he was really straight.
Okay, he looks like an extremely buff Freddie Mercury, sure. Because I can see it in his face, but like, come on. Like, the guy's like, the guy could break you over his knee.
Yeah, Thrag was awesome. I remember that was one of the best parts. It was like Thrag, and it was some great shit. It was some really good story arcs in Invincible. So I was wondering, like, if they got the Thrag yet, because I was wondering who they get to play Thrag. But again, this is a guy that created an entire race because he knocked up another race.
They just finished with the Invincible War, where you had like Omni Mark and you had Viltrumite Mark, Mustache Mark, and stuff like that. Where Angstrom was so for people who don't know, Angstrom is a character that like one of the most petty villains in all writing, in my opinion. I fucking love it. But he has like multiverse portaling ability. And
I don't know if is that the guy with the big brain?
Sorry, what did you say? Well, yeah, he's the guy with the super brain. That got mutated when she tried to. Yeah. And what he does though is he creates this. He somehow survives Mark literally crushing his head in and gets like put back together by this group of people known as the Technicians. And he tries to go at Mark with the other Marks. It doesn't work, and he's like, "Well, fix me, let me try again." And the Technicians just shut this motherfucker and go down. No, nah, you work for us now, motherfucker. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I remember Angstrom. I remember he was like the Baxter Stockman of Invincible.
Right, I'm gonna try to catch up on these super chats here. We're just a little behind.
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy.
All right, so Ryobi for $6.99 Canadian says, I remember on X years ago, a dumb poster called Bayonetta a lolly because she had pigtails hair in the first game trailer for Bayonetta 3. It was so dumb. Yeah. People get really stupid with that stuff from time to time, a lot of the time.
Yes, the hairstyle of consent.
Right.
And anyone with Neotona's features gets called a lolly, and it's usually by like either bitter fat girls or wannabe Chris Hansons that like are looking for the next predator to out. I swear to God, the supply of pedophiles on the internet is not meeting demand.
Look, I'm
for
just
$2.79 says,
right now,
correction, it was so dumb, I hate autofill.
That the predator hunting meta needs to be something that YouTube, X, Twitch, and like ban, because it only gets in the way of people actually helping children who are actual victims. Trust me, when I was a lawyer and practicing law, I did family law and I was a minors advocate. I can't tell you how many times someone thinking that they can take the law into their own hands and acting like a vigilante in any capacity, even when it comes to evidence gathering, completely destroyed a case.
Yeah, that's why the only one that does it right is Alex Rosen, and that's because he actually has like the cops involved, and that's pretty much it. Everybody else should like leave it to the professionals.
But
nope, not even internet then is it done right. In fact, did you know that Chris Hansen's show was canceled because it wasn't done right, even though he was working with the cops, because the people who bring the charges against it is the district attorneys and the courts. And the cops have been known to improperly gather evidence that cannot be admitted into the courts as evidence. And so if you really want to do it properly, you need to do it with like the DOJ, the FBI, people who are actually working closely with prosecutors properly so that the evidence gathered can actually stand a chance of being admitted into the court.
Yeah, and also you have this thing where people are like on a hate high. It's the whole cancel thing where like I just want to grind another human being under my shield.
I want to find the worst possible thing I can call you so that everybody hates you now.
Well, it's not even that. It's I need to destroy another human being, but society deems it wrong for me to just do it discriminately. I need to find some way to sate this need while doing it to someone that it's okay for me to do. Pedophiles. No one cares about them. I can destroy them all I want.
Canceled because somebody who had been wrongfully accused or drawn in actually ended up committing suicide when he showed up on How to Catch a Predator, because he was I forget the story, but basically someone died when they didn't need to.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's just nowadays it's just there's a certain subsect of people that just need to destroy people because they are low, and so must all other people be. Like, just they
Honestly,
are miserable.
I would be all right with people making content about this if it was content that was made about a case that's already been tried and concluded. Right?
Oh, I'm talking about more than just content.
But the fact of the matter is, people would much rather make a call out on Twitter rather than submit the quote unquote evidence to the proper authorities.
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about like social media too, because that's the thing. It's just the miserable people that hate that other people aren't miserable, so they want to destroy everybody. And so, pedophiles became the accepted people you can destroy. So now you need to basically make more pedophiles, so that you can destroy more people. So like a supply does not meet demand. So like,
well, it's like with the phrase calling everybody a Nazi, right? Because that was like the left's thing, is that they wanted to it was okay to destroy Nazis, so you did whatever mental gymnastics you had to say why this particular person is a Nazi, and therefore it's okay to like, post their address on the internet.
Yeah, remember the hashtag punch a Nazi thing?
Yeah, exactly. It was all of that stuff, and they're going from buzzword to buzzword, and it's taking all of the punch out of it. Like you should save those words to call somebody that's like actually that thing that you're trying to call them, because otherwise people just look at it and then they start rolling their eyes and they say, okay, whatever, retard.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to a point where that pedo becomes the new one.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know many people who are a part of a 1930s political party from Germany.
There's a couple. They're still they're in Argentina, and they're like 120 years old. But there's very few. Every day there's less.
Although I will say it's very funny.
Yes, Argentina. Do you want to hear my my Nazi hiding in Argentina impression?
Sure.
Hashtag thanks to Swagger Souls. Donde está la biblioteca en me por llama? Es uken aken? Es Sweden? Es no.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that most of the people going around calling everybody Nazis don't know what Nazi is short for. Because if they found out, I think you might have more in common with them than the people you're calling Nazis.
Whoops.
You'll never guess what the Z is short for.
Short for a word that starts with the letter S. Sparky's Tech Corner for $2 says Metal Gear Rising legit predicted the future. I mean, yeah, there are
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah. Kojima accidentally sort of, and you know, the people that kind of went in behind him and kind of tard-wrangled him a little bit, together they formed a cohesive vision for what the future was going to be like.
Time Trooper proved me wrong.
I believe it. I 100% believe it. I mean, I guess it's just one of those things where you can just kind of see the way that things were going with the internet, and that sooner or later the government would want to control it and try to suppress information. It was just kind of inevitable, and that AI would be the way that they did it, because it's really the only way that you could do it. Winter of Lame for $4.99 says, speaking of Metal Gear, I wish they would remaster the original Metal Gear game from the ZX Spectrum.
Of AI in the way like Zuckerberg has done it. Like, we've had it. Sorry, hold on. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. And I'm just going to finish reading the last bits. It's from the ZX Spectrum, Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake as well. That's actually something I've suggested that they need to do next to bring full circle. Bring back Koji. Oh, did my computer just crash?
Oh, God.
Oh, no, it froze, but it still seems to be working somehow. But that was my suggestion. Yeah, I turned on Bluetooth and everything went haywire. So, but it seems to be okay. I didn't see any frame drops or anything. It might have. Your audio is eating shit. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go turn Bluetooth off. Something is like destroying my. We're still here. Yeah, I'm gonna stop streaming on Discord to see if that was it. You have serious audio driver has crashed vibes. Uh-oh. We buffered for a second, but stream survived. Okay. I'm going to go turn off Bluetooth. That's what I'm going to do. See if that was the... Oh, God. Yeah, something is definitely wrong with my computer right now.
As soon as you turned off Bluetooth, it looks like it fixed.
Yeah, it must have been the Bluetooth driver. I'm sure that Windows was partially responding. Good old Windows update. You never know when it's going to break.
Good God. Fucking Windows.
It's the H1B coders that they keep bringing in, and they go in and they break everything.
It's really, really funny because I'm fairly certain that like my operating system, like Microsoft, would not even consider this Windows anymore.
Really? What did you do? Oh, well, I guess because it's so far behind in updates.
Dude, seriously, we're like, I'm actually looking at Windows Update right now. Last time I enabled it was...
Why is Gilded taking up 20% of my CPU when I don't use it?
I'm not sure how I'm still running.
You know what's funny? Apparently, the problem with my PC was actually Gilded because I refused to get a Roblox account. But it always pops up automatically. It's like, oh, you have to sign into Roblox. I just press X and just ignore it. It was taking up like 20% of my CPU. Why? I don't know. That's very weird. Eva last updated in COVID. Probably so.
Yeah, I had to disable Windows Defender because it would consistently use 20 to 25% of my CPU's processing power.
Jeez. Well, see, that's the crazy thing is I've got a good PC. That's why it's crazy that it started lagging. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? Why is my PC lagging? That shouldn't be. And then I suddenly discovered that like Bluetooth is crashing, and apparently Gilded was like eating my processing power for doing nothing, literally nothing. I guess stealing all of my secrets or something and sending them to the Chinese.
And there's like no point to like the Windows Defender if you've got a halfway decent.
It was trying to mine for Bitcoin.
It probably was. I wouldn't put it past those Roblox fucks.
Well, I feel like one thing we need to address is I'm kind of moving to the next topic here, but we there's one thing we always want to talk about, but we never get a chance because other things always come up. Well, damn it, it's time, and that's Dragon Ball DAIMA.
Yes!
We always want to talk about what's going on with DAIMA. And then we never get to. And now it's over. We missed our chance every time. And now it finally ended.
And now we can finally talk about it.
Damn it, we need to finally talk about it.
I have actually been watching DAIMA. I'm not all the way through it, but I love it so far, what I've seen, because it reminds me, it's like what they could have done with GT.
That's what I was saying, and I was proven right, and we can't even talk about it now because Ava's not caught up. I said from the beginning, because for those who don't know, Akira Toriyama really did like Dragon Ball GT.
I'm not big into spoilers. I did watch the final fight, just as a clip, so don't you worry.
So you know.
You can talk about it all you want.
So you know Super Saiyan 4 is canon now.
Yeah, I did very much like that final Kamehameha.
I think it's really funny.
Yes, Super Saiyan 4 is canon, and that's amazing to me.
I did a little thing, a little drawing on that, because like not only did Goku go Super Saiyan 4, but then right after he goes Super Saiyan 4, what's his name? Goma turns giant. It's like, hold on a minute. So Goku goes Super Saiyan 4.
3 Vegeta too, didn't we?
Yes, yeah. Vegeta got Super Saiyan 3, yeah. But yeah, like Goku goes Super Saiyan 4. He's whooping the villain's ass, but then the villain turns giant and now can beat up Super Saiyan 4. I think I've seen this before. I didn't know Goma was going to be our baby stand-in. I kind of thought that third eye thing was gonna like possess people when they wore it, and that was gonna be our baby stand-in. But otherwise, like I knew. There's the thing I did.
Interesting thing about the Super Saiyan 4 transformation in the original anime, because I remember, Goku gained Super Saiyan 4, and Baby was still kicking his ass.
Yeah, because well, first, it's Super Baby, the full, morphed Vegeta's body into his form, and then Goku goes Super Saiyan 4, beats the shit out of him, and then Baby gets hit with the Blutz waves. It's a pun, and it's like translated 3 different ways. The waves from Bulma's machine, and turns him into the Great Ape.
It's Plux waves.
Yeah, well, it's also like the dub changed a bunch of names, so I don't know who to trust anymore. He got hit with the waves, and he turned him Golden Great Ape, and Golden Great Ape Baby was like tied with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as like the strongest character in GT's canon. I mean, for like 1 episode, but hey, Gogeta was only there for 1 episode. Like he was like, it was awesome. He was like fucking powering up, and his fucking Dragon Ball Z aura thing just from a power up leveled half the city. It was awesome. It was great.
That is another nice thing that Ryobi actually mentions as well. Super Saiyan 4 does seem to be stronger than Super Saiyan Blue, which I like.
It's not. It's not. Actually, it's funny. For a while, when GT was not canon, it was like it's considered its own canon. Although Xenoverse tried to rectify it by just treating it as an alternate timeline. Super Saiyan 4 was always kind of treated as on par with Super Saiyan Blue. And now that Super Saiyan 4 is canon, we learn that it is very much not. In fact, like, why didn't Goku go Super Saiyan 4 any other time? Because then he got Super Saiyan God, and it was obsolete. He never needed to go Super Saiyan 4 again. Okay.
Okay.
It's like that closed that loophole. Like,
why didn't he ever do it? Stronger. Okay, that's fair.
It's because that was like the whole point of Beerus. He was like, I was here because I was told that there would be somebody that would be as strong as I am with God powers. And like that's like the whole thing is he's trying to like find the thing, and just it's very easily explained.
Like agitated at Beerus for like being still so insurmountable. Guys, he's not only a god of destruction, he is considered the strongest god of destruction of all the other universes.
Well,
he is the closest
in the manga
god of destruction to actually mastering Ultra Instinct. It's why he was able to take on every other one in a blitz.
That's just
the pre-tournament of power.
That's just Toyotaro
to freaking counter a 5-6 universe blitz from the other gods of destruction.
That's just Toyotaro. That's not the regular canon, because the manga is Toyotaro's interpretation of Toriyama's notes. And yeah, that's only in Toyotaro's canon is Beerus that strong because he really likes Beerus. You could tell.
That's fair, but Toriyama did give the torch to Toritomo, didn't he?
No, he just said that Toyotaro was the closest artist to his own, like the closest to imitating his own art style. He helped Toyotaro, what Dragon Ball Super was Toriyama's like, I'm not sitting here and doing a whole thing again. So he wrote down each saga. He wrote like bullet points and he made the characters and he gave it to Toyotaro and he gave it to Toei. And they came up with two vastly different interpretations, and people generally go with the anime.
Okay, so he was slightly more involved than he was with GT, because I remember he basically just looked over GT and hand-waved it.
Well, he did a little bit for GT. He designed the aged-up characters, so when people make fun of Mustache Vegeta, Toriyama did that. Toriyama did Omni-Man Vegeta. But like with that, he did come up with the stories and characters, and then
Toriyama is like notorious for like forgetting things.
He doesn't forget. He just he's making everything up as he goes along, and there's some things he's just like, that's not important anymore. And people are like, what happened? What about TN? It's like TN's yesterday's news.
He literally forgot about launch.
Yeah, what about launch? Yesterday's news. What do you want me to do with launch or lunch really? Like, what do you want me to do with her? How often can I do this joke? We're past that joke. We're done with her. I'm bored of her. Like Lunch was Woody from the Toy Story scene. I don't want to play with you anymore. Yeah, I don't want to play with you anymore. That's just how Toriyama was. And Super was like he wrote the story. He wrote the movies though. The Super movies. He did the script. That is 110% inarguable canon are the movies. But most people go with the anime.
And I first saw Super Saiyan, and one of my first thoughts was that would be so much cooler if the hair was blue.
It's like he knew. But the most people go with the anime because the anime is just better received. Because Toyotaro's interpretations of things are iffy. That's why, like, whenever stuff from Super is a reference in a video game, it pulls from the anime. The anime look at the difference with the Future Trunks saga. In the anime, it was the best saga in Dragon Ball history.
Well, I remember
and in
the
manga,
is a little weird. Like, doesn't Goku just learn Hakai as a mortal?
He learns like a bootleg version of Hakai. Because Toyotaro loves Goku and just has Goku be the best at everything because he loves Goku.
Yeah, makes sense. Let's see. Rai Ryobe for $6.99 Canadian says,
so who's responsible for consistently making Gohan like weak as shit and then like instantly able to bridge his power gap and like unlock Beast and stuff? Who's responsible for that?
Toriyama. He wrote that movie. Yeah, he wrote that movie.
See, Toriyama operates on the rule of cool. Like, is it, does it necessarily make sense in the canon? Not really. But is it really super cool? Yeah, let's do it.
No, I would say he's good at going back and making it retroactively make sense. Like, best example is Ultra Instinct. You think he was planning Ultra Instinct, but he wasn't. He needed a new transformation.
I will say that Toriyama is an absolute god at retcon.
Yeah. Like, he needed a new transformation for the Tournament of Power as something to give it some oomph. It's like, how do I come up with something that isn't just Super Saiyan new? And then he remembered that whole discussion Whis had with Goku and Vegeta.
Like, you need to. So, is Ultra Instinct a technique or a transformation?
Both, really. It's like just it's like God power. It's just unlocking a new divine ability.
Yep. You answered correctly. I don't have to be mad at you.
Yeah, because it's just he just remembered that discussion Whis had of like you have to be able to move without thinking. It's like, hey, that's it. That's what I'll do. It's the transformation. It's Goku will get that. And it's like it's kind of the thing with where he answered like, how come Goten and Trunks were able to go Super Saiyan so easily when it was like hard for Goku and Vegeta? Oh, well, Saiyans actually get stronger when they're in a peaceful environment.
Well, it's because it's his Super Saiyan bargain sale.
Yeah. He made that joke again, by the way, in DAIMA.
Yeah, he did.
He did it twice. It's so nice he did it twice. Yeah, that was, and most people don't realize, like people are like, oh my god, the S cells, you know, like they have more S cells. They grow S cells in nice environments, and that lets them grow stronger faster. And it's like, oh, he's made that, and people don't realize. No, see, that's how I know you're a fake fan. You don't get that it's a vegetable pun, because that's the Saiyans were always a vegetable pun. And the S cells and them getting stronger in peaceful.
It is literally just they always were just vegetable. Like my Saiyan OC, which is just a variation of Eva. Her name is Kara for carrot.
They almost no, there is carrot. It's Kakarot. What's wrong with you? They did carrot. That's Kakarot.
Yeah, Kakarot.
Yeah, that's carrot.
Doesn't mean you can't do it more than once. Screw you.
You gotta do a different vegetable every time. That's the point. You got carrot, you got kale, cabbage, broccoli.
No, because Vegeta is literally just vegetable.
He's got all the vegetables. Yeah, because of course the king and the royal family of Saiyans would be all the vegetables.
I am the rightful ruler of the planet Vegeta. That means I am the top vegetable.
Yeah, this is all going. This is all. Now wait. This is all going. Oh wow, that's a pretty good Vegeta.
Yeah.
I do a couple voices here and there.
You'd be great if a Bridge series were still relevant.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you gotta pick a different one every time. Even the movies, when they made up Saiyans, they knew that. You had Tullus for lettuce, and they changed it to Turles because they didn't get it. Right. The people doing the localization didn't get the pun.
And now it's still
like,
Turles.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's Tullus. It's Tullus. It's lettuce flipped. I mean, whatever. He's a lame character anyway.
Oh no! It is the Saiyan, Gus.
Yeah, and then we got a better evil Goku with like the best arc ever. So who cares? He's yesterday's news.
Trunks' famous line: "Stop! This man isn't black."
Oh yes, Father O'Malley, O'Connell, Carol, O'Reilly, O'Brien, O'Sullivan, who's also Italian.
This man is not black. God bless Funimation for keeping that.
I know,
by the way, because that's in the original Japanese.
It is.
Yeah, they kept that shit.
They did not localize that at all. It was kept verbatim.
Yeah. Don't shoot. This man isn't black. It's not, unironically, I will say it from the high heavens. Future Trunks saga, the best Dragon Ball saga, bar none. And one of the best reasons to go back and watch it dubbed, because fucking James Marsters Zamasu.
Oh yeah.
Is fucking
Trunks
beautiful.
Is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah. That's that's one of the reasons I threw the manga in the trash, because the manga fucking flubbed the Future Trunks saga like so hard. The only interesting thing it did was having Zamasu like do like Supreme Kai stuff, like, oh, he threw a Kachin type block. Yeah, look at that. And then he did like Janemba punch because Toyotaro just fucking rips everything off. You can't come up.
I do love how they just randomly gave Beerus an absolutely critical Achilles heel with like, oh, by the way, if the Supreme Kai dies, you die too. Well,
yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, it was necessary for the saga too, for them to wipe out all the gods of destruction and still be beatable.
Yeah.
And then, little stretch my fanboy legs, and then Zamasu ended up becoming the most powerful Dragon Ball villain that can ever and will ever be. Again, just kind of, it's just as someone that participated in a lot of who would win arguments as a teenager, I feel like it's nice as an adult to finally, once and for all, win. Like, my fave is number one.
Look, just remember that Zamasu was, like, killed, his body destroyed, and then he just became a universe, and it created it. The only way to beat him was to delete that universe.
Mm-hmm. He became the multiverse, so technically it was off screen, but he beat Jiren. Yeah, completely off screen, but hey, he did it.
Yeah, that alternate timeline was literally like an alternate timeline of all of the universes. So he literally went in and wiped out all of the other universes. And then only then did he come to Universe 7 to take care of them.
Yeah, well, he was starting to seep in, and then
Zeno was just like,
Zeno wiped him out.
Delete System 32.
Can I say Zeno was brilliant?
Yes.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. Zeno was brilliant. Not only is he a great character, but I love that Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball
is amazing, and I love past and future Zeno being together because they are a perfect representation of your average Dragon Ball Z fan.
It's a message. It's Toriyama saying, this is who rules Dragon Ball. The excited kids that go, wow. Yes. That's who rules Dragon Ball now in universe. Like, the best thing about Super, I said before, Super is amazing. Anyone who says Super is bad has a wrong opinion, and you shouldn't trust them on anything. One of the brilliant things about Super is introducing gods and stuff, because Dragon Ball had gotten so bloated with like power creep and like everything getting stronger. It's like, okay, now the power creep is actually going somewhere tangible, and we've set limits and like and plateaus, like not plateaus, like levels.
Peaks.
Like there are gods, and there's god power and full god.
One of my favorite things about like people who would criticize Super was like, why was Krillin able to handle Super Saiyan Blue? I'm like, well, because, you idiot, when they describe Super Saiyan Blue, it allows for complete and total ki control, down to a level that's just not obtainable by mortals. So Goku is able to basically dial in a proper like wall for Krillin to overcome instead of just absolutely obliterating him.
But not only that, but people are dumb when they think of Dragon Ball Z power levels. First of all, they completely miss the point of the Frieza saga, that power levels are dumb.
Literally worthless.
Like, that was why the bad guys lost. Yeah, that's why the bad guys lost. And also,
I'm the fastest thing in the universe.
Yeah. And also, you can hurt someone stronger than you. And you can survive a punch from someone stronger than you. Now, it will hurt. But, like, there's a reason that, like, when an abusive father beats his child...
Goku almost died to a freaking blaster in Resurrection F.
Yeah, because, like, a blaster, it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you're flesh and bone, like... a piercing laser is still a piercing laser. There's a reason in Z, Vegeta told Nappa to dodge the Kienzan. Don't try to block it. It will kill you. It doesn't matter that Krillin is way weaker than Nappa. Like,
actually, you can still... is one wonderful... Well, there is a point in a wall there, because one of my favorite scenes is the creation of Perfect Cell. And he actually grates off a Kienzan, and it does nothing, and you go, oh shit. Oh, this is serious.
Yeah, not only that, but people also forget when they bring that up, guys like Cell and Boo were not human. They were like things with different biology. So, like, I mean, Cell had a goddamn exoskeleton. So, this idea that, like, they treat Dragon Ball like an RPG, and it's like numbers. So if, like, your defense is too high and attack is too low, you will do 0 hit point. No, it's martial arts. It's people fighting. So you can have a way lower... Like, if a little kid kicks Goku in the testicles, it doesn't matter if Goku has God Ki. He got kicked in the testicles.
You kicked him in his God Saiyan balls, and he's gonna make the Goku pain face. Ah!
Yeah, and there's like,
one
blocking...
One of the best parts, and it's a more impactful scene in Dragon Ball Z, but Goku teleports using instant transmission when Krillin is showing off, and Krillin accidentally punches Goku right in the face, and Goku glances on the ground, holds his teeth like, fuck, that hurt. Because like you said, power levels don't matter.
In his Dragon Balls, right?
Yeah. Like, if you remember when Krillin was like, I'm gonna throw a rock at Goku while he's sleeping, because I bet he's so powerful and strong and whatever, he'll catch the rock, and he threw the rock and it hit Goku in the face. He's like, you asshole! Like, yeah, you're still a person. Like, you can still be hurt.
For like 10 minutes when I first saw that scene. It was so fucking good.
Yeah, like, he's still a person. Like, there's the whole scene in Super. There was a whole thing where Goku was like, man, I'm out of practice. Because some guys tried to mug him, and they shot him, and he, like, blocked it, and the bullet scratched him. I was like, oh, shit,
we're after
practice.
The Dragon Balls. The dragons what?
I gotta read this super chat before I lose it, because I had to refresh everything when my computer almost died. But Ryobe for $6.99 Canadian says, you saying Windows reminds me of a funny clip of Crony having her PC constantly updating while she was streaming, and it would have Cortana jump scare her. Yes, I do remember that.
Crony's a trip.
And he had another one for 279 Canadian. Says, "This is for the Prince Vegeta impression. Bravo, sir." Well, thank you. I try a little bit.
Yeah, I like there's so much to appreciate about Dragon Ball that I think people don't, because they're so hyped up on like when they were a teenager and just being focused on the fights, and like that old dub with its fucking like just taking the charm out of Dragon Ball and just making it like
understand, like, my first exposure to Dragon Ball in any capacity was DBZ abridged, and then I watched Dragon Ball, and then Dragon Ball Z, and then Super, and then GT, I think, after Super, weirdly enough, and then DAIMA. But it was TeamFourStar that introduced me to Dragon Ball.
That's what it was for a lot of young people.
You are forgiven. As long as you because Dragon Ball Z Abridged pisses me off. I liked it, and I think it was funny up to a point, but what it caused makes me hate them retroactively. Like, they've ruined the fucking fandom. Like, you can't talk about cool shit without someone bringing up a fucking Dragon Ball Z Abridged meme, or like Dragon Ball Z Abridged is like the real canon. It was like better. It was better written than Dragon. No, fucking wasn't. There was no just because
the fans ruin it then. Not TeamFourStar, and not the piece of art that stands by itself.
Well, also it got worse. It got way worse. I mean, I think the nail was firmly in the coffin when they had a whole extended sequence of Goku singing a song from Steven Universe. I think that was the point where it's like, this shit's dead.
I hadn't even been
DEAD dead.
See, I didn't even know about that because I had stopped tuning in when they got to the end of the Cell Saga.
I kind of like that part. It was a little opening part.
Yeah,
and I think that was like episode 55 or 56. It was like that was one of the last episodes.
I think the only thing that was still worth the only reason I was really still catching it, the only thing that was still funny was Cell. Inexplicably, Cell was still funny.
Yeah, he's always funny.
Cell was great.
Even as the rest of Dragon Ball Z Abridged was descending into the depths of cringe, the likes of which no man had ever seen, somehow when Cell was on screen, he was still funny.
I loved Imperfect Cell. Like, oh, Piccolo, what are you doing in my neighborhood? And it's like, what are you doing here? Oh yeah, well, I just want to see me drink this guy.
Yeah, want to see me drink? I love that they made Cell crazy. I think it was great, and like I think it was actually a really good idea that as he went up in forms, he got like better at hiding the crazy, but it's still crazy. Like Imperfect Cell was just like, and then Perfect Cell was still like, he was acting very sophisticated, but he would say very strange things, and it's like, what? He was still like Cell was just out of his fucking mind, and then just as
at first you had my attention, now you have my erection. What, bitch? You know what I'm about.
Yeah, exactly. The Imperfect Cell talking to himself and then getting mad cracked me up when he was like standing outside the city and then like voicing the city like he was about to like
that was the best part. Oh, hello city. Yeah, that was Jesus. That was honestly one of my favorite freaking city scenes, and Taka mentions it too because like Imperfect Cell is like this, like he's just neurotic and just like he's got all this power and this drive to achieve this thing that he doesn't even know.
Yeah, I just love he's on the hill and just like you don't even know what's coming. Oh, Sam, don't. Oh, you know what's coming. And then he starts like, because he's having a fake argument with himself, he starts getting real. Well, he starts getting really mad.
I haven't eaten in 3 years, and so I'm understandably pretty hungry. And 2, there's nothing I love more than seeing the face of a person disappear.
I just love that he was having an argument with himself and he got genuinely angry to be like, shut up, bitch, I do what I want. Like that was like, it was at the point like I was,
what I love is Semi-Perfect Cell in his argument with the Islanders. That was one of like, dude, look, I know you're having a moment with your girl, but you're kind of causing a scene, man.
Yeah, it's just it was to the point where Dragon Ball Z Abridged got to a point where I was just doing other things when Cell wasn't on screen. It was literally the Poochie meme. It was when Cell is not on screen, everybody should be saying, where's Cell? I don't care, like, oh, you're trying to make a dramatic story. That's cute. Oh, look, you brought up lore.
It's so funny. Takahata made that exact joke during their commentary.
Yeah, it's just Cell it was when the Cell Saga came around, he was the only funny part. Like, that was it. Like it was. They were trying to do lore and be a serious fan dub way too often. They were trying to. It became less of a Dragon Ball parody and more of just a Dragon Ball fan dub. Until Cell was on screen, and then Cell. It's like Cell was the only character that remembered this was a parody.
I think they got into more like character writing, which tends to happen. And I will say they moved away from like the traditional bridge model, which was just funny meme joke. But I end up liking the later seasons for different reasons, but most of those reasons do involve Cell.
Well, I tell you this, when I saw what happened with Dragon Ball Z Abridged, it's a song I've already seen happen before. It's something I've seen this time and time again. It was the same thing that would happen to fucking webcomics back in the 2000s. It was the exact same thing. You would have a webcomic that starts as a gag-a-day, haha lols comic, and then all of a sudden, slowly, and you know what else it happened to? The fucking Archie Sonic comic. We talked about this on the show before. Starts as a gag-a-day, funny haha, and slowly starts to creep in a little more drama, and the next thing you know, you blink, and then it's a fucking serial. But webcomics were awful with this shit.
If you want to go really far back, Dragon Ball started out as a gag manga.
Yeah. I mean, it did the same thing, but I think Toriyama was a lot more graceful about it because it was mixed with action enough that when it became more action-oriented, it was natural. Whereas, like, there was, like, some of the worst offenders of this
though is One Punch Man, clearly a gag manga, right? But now we're seeing the same thing happen to One Punch Man that happened to Dragon Ball back then, where like things are a little bit more serious. It's not like haha one punch. Like I did, what one of the recent chapters was like, yeah, no, fucking Saitama actually had trouble with this one.
Yeah, I think it's also Murata's kind of having to make stuff up more as one. There's less material from one, so it's kind of just going off the rails into its own thing. But like Dragon Ball, like I said, Dragon Ball was able to stick the landing because it had action roots from the beginning. But you saw this. Webcomics were lousy with this shit. There was a joke that like you'd start as like a
it did,
comic.
But remember, Goku kicked a rabbit to the moon.
And he was doing Kamehamehas and shit even back then.
You'd start with like two guys on a couch talking about video games, and then like the last frame is them going to outer space to fight God. And it's like, what?
Yeah. What was really lousy with this was furry webcomics. They were the worst offenders because it was always like they was always directionless. Like the regular webcomics, gamer webcomics.
I'm
stuck
not
to their
even
stuff.
going to begin to ask why you're even aware of what furry webcomics were doing.
Oh, because I was deep in the internet subculture. I've been deep in internet subculture for a long time.
Yeah, he runs Anime Outsiders. Like their entire thing was categorizing and talking about weird subcultures.
Yeah, like I had unsupervised internet access, and I shouldn't have. Because I was in a lot of those like internet gawking circles, like Portal of Evil. I wasn't on something awful, but I'd like lurked there. You had, and a lot of the bad webcomic stuff. I remember a lot of those bad webcomic reviews, and I was like any of that kind of like laughing at the expense of others. And the furries were my reality TV. I've talked about this before. As a teenager, they were my reality TV. Like, what are the furries up to today? Let me. I knew the sites to check. Portal of Evil, Crush, Shift, Destroy. What are they doing? What's up? And there's always be something. Look at them. They think when they make fun of people, it's literally funny. Like 9/11.
One of my first exposures to furries was reading up on that FurryCon they tried to have a number of years ago, where everything went wrong.
A rainforest?
I was about to say rainforest.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh no. Here's the thing. Like the funny part is, furry.
Yeah, that's funny. You guys both know what it was. Yes, the rainforest.
See, that's the thing, and I said, someone watching the internet for a while, furries today aren't as bad as they used to be. That's why I kind of, my hatred for them is pretty much gone. That and the fact that the weebs are no different anymore. But, like, they have worse people in them, like you have first zoo sadists and stuff, but as a whole, between the fact that they fracture, there's no, furries,
look,
as
I like
we
what
think
Legal
of them.
Mindset said the best. We had a lot of tourists come in on pandemic visas, and we just have to work extra hard to deport all the tourists that we currently have in the medium.
No, I don't think you understand. The weebs, see, what I realize now as someone who's been on the internet as long as I have, the furries were not special. They were foreshadowing. They were just the first fandom to go down the road they did. And people just were so busy laughing at them, they didn't realize that they were a cautionary tale of this is what happens to any fandom that lets itself get too degenerate and doesn't call people out in their circle. And then all of a sudden, all the other fandoms started to become just like the furries. Like, one of the things that always stuck with me back in the day, I remember a very common thing. It used to be furries, you're not a fandom, you're a fetish. You say you're a fandom, but you're actually a sexual fetish. And what is one of the ways that they would always prove that this isn't a fandom, it's a fetish? You can't have a furry convention without porn. It is impossible to have a furry convention without porn. That's proof that you're a fetish. Fast forward to today. Have an anime convention without any hentai in it. See how that goes. Have one anime convention, no body pillows, no dojins in the dealer's room, no 18+ panels. You can't do it, you won't do it. It's the same shit. Same shit. You became everything that all the furry stories I remember from back in the day, I see it at anime conventions now. Like, we did not heed the warning. We thought, that'll never be us. The furries are so weird. What do you mean there's a con orgy at Otakon?
Zoomers are different.
But that goes into like
the millennials
when we do it.
The millennials, we hate ourselves too much for that. But the Zoomers, they've gone too far.
But that's why, like I was saying, like the furry webcomics back in the day were infamous for this because furry webcomics had no direction. So you had other webcomics that have some kind of direction, like some kind of idea what they want to be. But furry webcomics were just, I want my anthro characters to run around. It was like a fucking goldfish bowl for escapism for like sad dudes, right? It was like, you know what? Holy shit! It was isekai. It was the same shit as like isekai fantasy harem shit.
Just use Second Life for that.
That's what it was. They were making their own Second Life, but it was like they controlled all the characters. So it would start as just, here's my furry characters in some kind of situation. Like I remember Las Lindas was one of the most infamous ones because it started as just furries on a farm, and suddenly there's anime superpowers and ancient beasts, and it's just like, wasn't this just furries on a farm and sex jokes? How did we get to Naruto? It went from fucking furries on a farm to Naruto. And there was another one I don't remember the name of, but it was furries in college, and it did the exact same thing.
Well, remember, Naruto went from Naruto to Dragon Ball Z.
But
True.
That's why, because like so many furries were also weebs. Like all the annoying things, people don't understand. This is something that the anime fandom doesn't want to face. All the annoying things they do, they got from us. That uwu notices bulge uwu. That's all the shit that the teenage weebs were doing in the 2000s. The furries just kept doing it. That ooh, that's an emoticon.
I do find it very bizarre that, like, on this podcast, being the only girl, somehow I'm the one who didn't say ooh notices bulge. Yeah.
Cody and I are very special.
I've been around this bullshit too long. I stopped caring.
Same here. I have a very simple motto.
I think they're built different, guys.
I have a very simple motto. Be the cringe you want to see in the world. And I am cringe, but I am free.
Yeah, I think people forgot because you hear people say ooh woo. Ooh woo is not a noise; it's an emoticon. This
is actually extremely true because like people don't realize, but like the whole Anime and Law Special Weeb unit came from a clip that I watched. Me and Legal Mindset were watching the Sarah Boone podcast, and during trial, during a break in the trial, we did a Nicholas Ricada update. And PPP covered it and said, what is this? Anime Law Special Weeb Unit? And we've taken that and made it an entire freaking intro, and it's amazing. But it started out as just someone pointing out the cringe and trying to make fun of us for it. And we went, nah, we'll see you. We'll see your joke and we'll raise you a legend.
That's how you do it. You just say, okay, yeah, that's actually based. It's like how they keep trying to create like the stereotypical right winger in like all these popular medias, and everybody's just like, actually based.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when North Korean propaganda just makes America look awesome.
Right? It's like, oh, you highlighted our best features.
Actually, yes, Lone Keypad Demon. He is the one who created the intro, and he is in the chat.
Oh, nice. Good job, dude. That intro was banger.
Yeah, that was badass. I loved it. Eva shared it with me earlier this week, and I was like, holy shit, I have to play this.
Sparky's Tech created the original, hold on real quick. Sparky's Tech created the original narration that I added
assume,
to it, but apparently he just added another one, and he said, I blame you for getting me into this.
Oh, yeah, I see he just DM'd me that. We kind of got off on the weeds, so I never got a chance to play it, but let me pull it up here.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, I see it. I'm gonna have to download it and then play it.
Well, while you're pulling that up, I feel like I have exposed multiple guests to this, and now I have to spread this mimetic virus to Eva. I just want, when I said before that the furries are not as bad today as they used to be, it's because like they got some fucked up fetishes, but it used to be worse because there used to be an era of a little thing called the shitting dick nipples.
Oh God.
Where it was kind of like the macro Star Fox thing where it's like one guy is financing an entire fetish. There was some guy back in the 2000s financing an entire fetish of women that had erect penises for nipples. And sometimes feces would be coming out of those erect penises that were on the woman's nipple.
This guy was such a menace that he became a 4chan meme because of it.
Yeah,
I've stated this once. I'll state it again. I need a fucking adult. What the hell are you talking about? I'm terrified.
It seems like, if there's any consolation, it seems like those pictures are lost to time. I have not been able to find them.
I had forgotten they existed until you mentioned it, and I'm like, oh my God, I remember that stuff.
The dick nipple. Yeah, and that was a furry.
Of course it was.
Yeah. He was one of the original Mr. Businesses. He's like before, and that's kind of the thing of like how the furries are a lot more tame, because now, what is it, just giant gay Star Fox? I mean, compared to the shitting dick nipples, that's kind of tame. It's like saying
Star Fox sitting and crushing a building with his balls is much more tame compared to shitting dick nipples. Jesus.
Because those dicks, I remember those pictures. Those dicks were veiny.
Is there any way I can move farther away from Schmeckle? Because I'm terrified right now. I don't feel safe. I'm cheating.
Oh, that shit's burned in my brain, man. Those old furry fetishes. I think the modern furry fetish that comes close is cockvore. That's pretty fucked up. Cockvore, but like the old ones though, man.
They were into some weird stuff when they first started. It's like, what the hell,
dude? The Hermtars. Hermaphrodite centaurs.
I think Jim covered that in one of his Tumblrisms videos. God, that takes me back. But here's the clip. Here's the clip that Sparky made.
In the online legal commentary system, reckless streamers who test the limits of defamation and grifting are considered especially notorious. On the internet, the dedicated analysts who break down their cases and the courts that hold them accountable are part of an elite squad known as LawTube. These are their stories.
Nice. So there's a LawTube one too.
Although, like, I feel the autism itching the back of my neck when he said notorious. It's supposed to be heinous. It's heinous. It's heinous. It's heinous. It's like burned into my brain. So it's like when someone's singing along to a song but they get a word wrong. It's like you want to correct them, but like, will I look like a fucking tool? So I just went with it. It's heinous.
That's true. You know, it's funny. I saw a kid earlier today. Not today. The other week. I saw a kid. He was riding around on his bike, and he was singing along to Slow Ride, and he kept saying "Slow Rider," and I felt a legit urge to tackle him off his bike and like yell at him correcting the lyrics.
You know what really activates that with me? Ava, how familiar are you with Final Fantasy XIV? Like, I know you've probably heard of it, but how much about it do you know? Wait for the answer.
I've heard it. I've watched Gator play some of it. I want to play some of it, but that's all I know.
Okay.
Well, I was playing 7. I wasn't playing 14. And Mama Oko just rated. Thanks for that, Oko.
Hey, Mama
welcome,
Oko,
welcome, Raiders.
Oh, that's how little I know. Oh, Mama Oko, thank you for the raid.
Yeah. So in Final Fantasy 14, there's the expansion Shadowbringers, which is peak fiction. Shadowbringers, it's the peak of 14. It's the best part. You can pretty much quit after the patch quests. I kid, but there's one of the reasons it's incredible. It's not just the story, but like the composer was on a tear to the point like he was like on such a crazy tear that he had like memory blackouts. He was like subsisting on fried chicken and beer, and he forgot he composed half the soundtrack. Yeah, he was on some other level with that one. One of the area musics is famous for like the vocals in it.
That sounds amazing.
Yes, it's the Shadowbringers soundtrack is another level. It had this one track, Civilizations, which is like it's in this kind of forest jungle area, so it has this tribal kind of singing, which is amazing. And it starts with her saying, now the lyric, we don't know what the fuck the lyrics actually are. He doesn't remember. That's why we don't have it written down anymore. This is one of the tracks he does not remember composing. So it just exists, and we don't know what the lyrics are, just that they're not a known language. Now the song is a meme because it's so good and catchy, and it starts with a woman saying this thing that everybody says is lahi. Lahi. Then I got the soundtrack, and I played it very loud in my car, and I heard that song, and when I played it loud, I could hear the lyrics more clearly, and I realized they're not saying lahi. She's saying hafi. Huafi. But now everybody still says lahi. So every time I hear lahi, someone say lahi, that meme lahi, which by the way, they put that meme in the game in later patch quests because it became such a community thing. It was like a little shout out to the community, like, we put lahi. But I'm like, it's not lahi. It's not lahi. And you can't just, I don't have the platform to tell the world this.
Like the worst ones for that, I remember. I got an argument with a kid in school because it was, I'm blue, dabba-dee dabba-die. This kid would not fucking give it up that the lyrics were not, if I was green, I would die. I had like, remembered like now that's what I call music, but like for kids, Kids Bop. I had one of those CDs. I had the lyrics in the pamphlet of the freaking songs. And I showed him, I'm like, look, it says, I'm blue, dabba dee dabba die. Not if I were green, I would die. And he's like, no, the pamphlet got it wrong.
The pamphlet got it wrong.
It's not supposed to be like actual lyrics. It's scat. That's what it is. They're just making, you know, they're just making beat noises.
Yeah.
The whole
that's the
song.
thing. That's why I say dabba dee dabba die, because it's just scatting.
Yeah, the whole song is just it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just like he's making shit up. It's like, I have a blue house with a blue window. Like, it's just blue shit. It's a very silly album. I don't know if most people probably haven't heard the actual full album that Blue is from, but it's very goofy.
It's a shit post.
Eiffel 65 is kind of goofy.
I have.
Oh yeah. It's like
I have a weird curse with my memory where like I can hear a song only once or twice, and then the lyrics are in there forever.
Like there's a song on that album that's just about Eiffel 65 glazing the PlayStation 2. It's a whole song. Yeah, it's called My System, or it's like My Console, something like that. I think it's My System, but it might be My Console, something like that. But yeah, it's a whole song about the PlayStation 2. And then there's one song that has a really catchy chorus, and then the bridge it's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's called Too Much of Heaven. And it's got that chorus, it's like, I love that chorus, but then the chorus ends. And it just starts rambling about money dependence. And everybody trying to, I guess I don't know if it's capitalism or just bitching about materialism. I don't know. But it's not even singing. It's just a weird rant, and then like the beat is kind of like dead. And then he stops talking, bitching about people wanting money. And that really catchy chorus comes back in. Like, yeah! And then he stops. And it's just, Eiffel 65 is fucking weird. You could see how Blue happened. When you listen to the rest of their output, you could see how Blue happened.
In all of a sudden, workers of the world unite. Wait, what?
It's such a weird song. They're so weird. They're such a weird band. You can see how like Blue is the least weird. Like, yeah, it's a weird song about blue aliens. He's talking about, hey, I have a blue house with a blue window, and he's saying gibberish in the chorus. Yeah, that's the least weird song on that album. But the title track,
Blue is
because the album's called Europop.
No, I can't. I literally, like, all the lyrics are playing in my head right now.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you want to
get you by not repeating them.
Oh, it'll get worse if you listen to some of the other songs of that album. But the title track though is a banger. It's called Europop. The album's called Europop. The blues from the title track Europop is a fucking banger. If you need any other song from the guys that made Blue to jam to, look up Europop. Kicks ass. Kicks ass. Go check that shit out. Anyway, I'm rambling about music at this point. I gotta stop.
Yeah, I want to show for Akko's people from her chat that joined us. I do want to show off the intro I made again, because and the intro that Sparky and Lone Kiba Demon, I think that's right, Lone Kiba Demon. I think I said that right.
Do it.
Yeah, I want to show that off because it's like the coolest thing ever. So I'm gonna share this on the screen here from the beginning of the podcast.
In the anime underworld, crimes against the culture are considered especially heinous. In Otaku City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these violations are part of an elite squad known as the Special Weeb Unit.
You'll love this because Akko's in it. Any color. Soy Jack points. Oh, it's us. It's funny because that's exactly what it looks like too.
I'm barely in this. It's terrible intro. It's terrible.
Yep, and then this next one is in memory of the voice of Space Ghost, George Lowe. I'm very proud. I did this like right before the podcast, by the way. Like all this next
awesome. Part. I'm impressed by I don't know how you did it. I'm assuming AI or something. This looked really good.
It was partly AI.
Yeah. Yeah, like this absolutely had the vibes. Seeing it again, it makes me want to make a marathon in Space Ghost Coast Coast after this.
Greetings, I am Gator, and yeah, I even did the intro.
The only thing you messed up, you should have had everybody appear with a sound. Like when that sound came in, you should have had us all up here.
Yeah, I was just a little late on that, but other than that, it was 10 out of 10. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to find a plugin that would actually let me like create a digital outline of everybody, and then like have everybody like slowly appear and like have the color fill in and stuff. But I couldn't find one in OBS, and I was like, I should have asked Shindigs if he knew how to do this exact effect, because he probably does.
Nah. Should have at least had us fade in or something.
Yeah, that was my bad. I'll probably edit it on the re-upload or something when I upload it to Rumble and stuff.
Also, to Ghost Dog's point, George Lowe was a radio guy.
Ryobi,
a Georgian radio guy.
699 Canadian says, does anyone know the song Dota by Bass Hunter? It's a Swedish song about playing Dota, but because it's Swedish, everyone would just mumble the lyrics. I know that song, and I know the lyrics in Swedish. Similar like that's the thing. Like even songs in other languages, I'll learn the lyrics. Like I know all of Gangnam Style. I shouldn't. I have no reason, to, but I know them.
There's a bunch of surprisingly there's a lot of songs where artists just nerd out about video games. And obviously, that's more common now, but I'm talking like back in the day. I mean, there was Biggie Smalls, Super Nintendo, and you had
you're talking about like Starbomb?
Yeah, there's like there's a artist I talked about before, Crazy Loop, had the whole song about Nintendo called Famicom. And it was like a lot just a lot of artists, like more art going back farther than you'd think. Of artists kind of just nerding out about
Nintendo, it's just the flavor of the Wii. Yeah.
There's there's one there's like a lot of rappers will just throw in references to video games too, or just other stuff. Like there's Cess Crew had a song, and I remember
I love the rap stuff.
Yeah, I remember Cess Crew had a song where one of the songs the layers like now or later something like Dragon Ball Z and put a crater in the ground around him. Was it who had the line of like comparing himself to Broly? Someone had a line. Which rapper was it? Had a line. Sounded like pissed like Broly. Somebody had that fucking line. Some chat might know. Somebody had that line. It's Tech Nine. Tech Nine.
Wow, that takes me back.
Yeah. Tech Nine had a reference to Broly.
Tech Nine. I love Tech Nine.
Tech Nine's great.
Yeah,
Based.
He's good. Evil Brain, Angel Heart, Evil Brain.
Yeah.
Okay, no,
Hell yeah, Ava. Hell yeah. Based. Tech Nine's special effects is still one of the best rap albums of all time, in my opinion. But yeah, there was that. No,
actually, a lot of the covers I've done, because I stream on YouTube and then I stream on another platform, which shall not be named. But I do a lot of covers there, and I've done a shitload of rap.
Oh yeah. Good luck trying Tech Nine. Yeah, do Speed 'em. See if you can karaoke Speed 'em.
Oh, I've done Without Me. I've done oh, here. I got a good fast one. Hold on.
Oh, by the way, chat, this is not a drill. Fuwamoko Nendoroids. It's happening.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's happening.
Dovahkiin's dragons, I'm not overkeen or dice. I'm like a knife slicing right through an aubergine. My dragon's sharp flow is sweeter than a soda stream. You won't believe your eyes, I'm like an overload of dopamine. A broadsword in one hand and a magic spell in the other. I'm the last of the dragonborn. There's no other, my brothers to run for cover. If you got scales and I'm on your tail, and I will not feel like a free-roaming sandbox game. I'm off the rails, I walk the trail through awful gales and storm for ale to all the nails are knocked into your coffin. I'm not stopping till you're impaled and I prevailed. In the name of the Nords, I pray to the Lord that you all get a taste of the blade of my sword. I'm taking on hordes of enemies. I face them with hordes of weaponry. The drain in my force, so chemistry comes into play with retorts and recipes. Out the mixing like a DJ. Restoration, restore my energy. My legacy, oddities, elegies, prophecies written in heavenly bodies and buried with everybody. The ever did bother them, messily dead and terribly for me. I'm a celebrity, honestly.
That's pretty dope, actually.
I think though, again, if you really want to prove yourself, Speed 'em by Tech Nine. If you can pull that one off, then you have my attention. Or even worse, fucking Tech Nine's line in
I'll have
Chris
to
Calico's
listen to it again, but yeah, challenge accepted.
Yeah, or I gotta stop. I'm just gonna start talking about fucking rap music now. I'm just start going on another more music autism. But, again, Ava, based, fellow strange music enjoyer. Although I will say, I brought up Cess Crew earlier. I would say everybody in chat needs to check out a song they did called Seven Chakras.
Music? How about this one? What is their name? Hold on. Oh no.
Oh, she's looking that up. I'm gonna read the super chat. Yeah, 270. Ryobe in chat for 279 Canadian says, "Sorry, I think False's horse model is cursed." Oh, that's a deep cut there.
Yeah, but I gotta finish this. I gotta drop this real quick. everybody got to check out a song called Seven Chakras, because not only is it fucking amazing, but the beat, it's not sampling, but it is very clearly inspired by Chrono Trigger. Like, you'll hear it immediately. It's not, you can tell it's not sampled because it's not using the NES sound samples or anything, but it is definitely very Chrono Trigger inspired.
About weird music. How about Dr. Steel and his toy soldiers?
Sounds familiar, but I don't think I've dove into that one. Dr. Steel and his toy soldiers. What was that one?
Yeah, that one is. I don't know this one.
Dr. Steel sounds familiar.
Type in Lament for a Toy Factory.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one of his best ones.
I think Yeah, I remember back when me and a bunch of friends would play TF2. I remember seeing references to this guy. Yeah, that's where I remember him from. Yeah. Yeah, I think
oh, was this the guy who got because there's one thing I do remember about this guy vaguely, because I remember people were pissed off at Dr. Horrible because they say it was a ripoff of this guy. And I do remember that, yeah, the bald guy with the glasses, yeah, with the shades and everything.
Well, yeah, this guy came out. His name was Dr. Steel, but the problem is, like, he tried creating this brand for a little bit. It happened when I was really little, but he stopped, and he stopped very suddenly. And then this other guy came out, and I'm sorry to say, but like, Dr. Steel was kaput for years before the new guy came out. I don't think it's any kind of, like, you know what? Someone picked up the meta and ran with it. You can't blame them.
I thought you were going to say he tried to rebrand. I was like, is this a KMFDM situation?
Now that I look at him, I see the similarities between him and Dr. Venture. Like, I mean, he literally looks just like Dr. Venture, now that I think about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was intentional a little bit. Yeah, I thought you were saying he like rebranded himself, because like, is this fucking KMFDM all over again? Because that was one of the dumbest things I can ever remember a music artist doing. For those that don't know, if y'all probably know KMFDM, what y'all probably don't know is KMFDM like left and then came back at, what was it, MFDMK or something, like, it's KMFDM backwards, and I tried to do a whole artistic direction. They did a whole new sound and it sucked. It was awful. It's terrible. And then they gave up on it and just reformed KMFDM and just been kind of a mediocre shell of their former self ever since.
It's almost as bad as when Linkin Park came out with that lady that they had singing, and it was awful.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you should. I love Linkin Park, but man, you should just retire, guys. Like start a new band. Like, I hate to say it, but
rebrand.
Yeah, just leave the legacy.
With Chester dead,
leave the legacy behind and just start something new. And it's okay if you play the old songs as the new band, but like, don't try to replace Chester. You can't, especially with at least whatever that was.
At least Queen had two singers. So like, I mean, everybody remembers Freddie Mercury. There were two singers, and you lost one, you still have the backup.
It kind of reminds me of that Key and Peele sketch with Hoodie and the Blowfish, where it's just Daniel Ruckers or whatever his name is. He's like, no,
Darius Rucker.
I'm not Hoodie. There's never no man named Hoodie. It was just a bunch of nonsense words.
Yeah, it's when a group tries to rebrand or try to do some drastic change like that, it rarely works. I can think, no, you know what? Sometimes it does. Like when a metal band gets a new vocalist, it can work, right? But when a band tries a whole new thing, like a reinvention or some drastic new direction, that's when it becomes a problem. Like infamously, Nightwish. I mean, the shit
I was
going
just
on
about to mention Nightwish when what was her name? Tharja?
Yeah, Tharja left, and then like she left like on bad terms, fighting with
Tarja.
Like, the dude that
Tarja's the chick from Fire Emblem. Yeah, Tarja.
Yeah, like left because like it was like her and then this dude, and then they had a falling out, and like once she leaves, like the new Nightwish, it wasn't terrible, but this felt like half a Nightwish. Even just like the vibe felt like half a Nightwish.
Yeah, it just wasn't
like
the same.
Times bands try something different. Yeah, and like a lot of times bands will just try a whole Sometimes you know what though, it can work. I mean, there's sometimes you have like a situation like with Accept, where everybody remembers Balls to the Wall, and then Udo Dirkschneider left Accept and made his own band, and then Accept got a new lead vocalist who was really good, and then now it just became two good bands that just have kind of the same vibe. Metal, I think metal, like classic hard rock, heavy metals, power metal, they get away with it a lot more than other music genres. Like when a lot of even other types of rock try it, doesn't work. But something about metal, I guess it's a genre that's more accustomed to members like getting pissed and leaving, and like having to have that backup plan of like, what if this guy leaves? That's a lot more bands. I mean, Helloween has gone through 3 vocalists, and then not only did they keep getting better, but then now all 3 of their vocalists, their other 2 old vocalists, rejoined the band, and now they have all 3 vocalists, and they're one of the best fucking metal bands in the entire fucking planet. So, sometimes it works out. A lot of times it doesn't. It's like the Infinity Stones, but vocalists.
That's pretty dope, actually.
Actually, Helloween's funny because members would leave Helloween and then form into other really good bands. Like one of the most famous AMVs of all time was done by a band from former Helloween members. Everybody probably remembers from one period of time, Spirit Never Die, that famous AMV.
Yes,
it was like
yes.
It was like 1 million animes. Spirit Never Die. That song is awesome. By the way, I gotta say, hippie points. I knew that fucking song before the AMV. Thank you very much. I have the album it's from. But Master Plan was made by former Helloween members that left after they wanted.
I now know who amongst you is the hipster of the group.
Cody is like the massive music nerd. Like he.
Oh God, yeah.
Like he tells me things I never even like conceived of, and I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know that. He's like, yeah, man.
I have restrained myself because I keep wanting to send you shit. I keep wanting to just send you like if I restrain myself, dude, like every other day.
My music tastes are extraordinarily weird. Like I have like Omnia. Like, have you heard of that? It's a pagan band.
Well, let me tell you something. You went to weird music taste. My girl actually recently showed me this article because it came up on her Spotify. It's oh my God, what's called? No shit. It's like let me find it real quick because this is amazing. I have to tell everybody. Coyote Kid. Coyote Kid.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Scandinavian throat singing? No.
Yes. Yes. I think Mick Gordon learned it for Killer Instinct. But Coyote Kid he's like indie rock, but he did an amazing fucking concept album called The Skeleton Man. That is a Tarantino style country rock kind of thing. Like the music sounds like something from a Tarantino movie. Like you think country, I'm not talking about like twangy, support the troops. No, like it feels like background music in Kill Bill, that kind of vibe. And it's this crazy rock opera. It's not a concept album. It's a rock opera, straight with a storyline to it of like a post-apocalyptic sort of zombie apocalypse, hate plague kind of thing of like these characters, and then one of them resurrects their lost love, which ends up because they cheated death, they actually defeated death literally. So there's this part in the middle of the album, these 2 back-to-back songs that are fucking amazing, where it's like the Grim Reaper comes to the main character who's this gunslinger, and basically he's like, I have chosen you as my successor. And like the first song is very dark because it's the main character, and is like death is approaching him and he thinks it's his time, but no, it's not your time. I've chosen you to be the new death because I've been defeated. So I'm done. Now I need to find a successor. It's you, and you need to go and fix that. You need to set things right. And then the song immediately after that completely changes tone because now the main character is death, and it's like his first day on the job, and because now he is death and he has omnipotent and has all the powers of death, his entire outlook and personality have changed. So the tone of the song changes. And the song it's called Destroyer of Worlds, his first day as death. One of the most fun fucking songs I've ever heard, because the whole song is about on his first day, he decides to go to a tailor to get a nice suit to look the part. but he's a skeleton now because he's deaf, and he's like freaking out the tailor. And there's this whole line in the song where he's giving his measurements, and you realize that's the measurements of a skeleton, like a 5-inch neck. It's so good. It's amazing out. The lyrics in this album are 10 out of 10. It's one of the best written albums I've ever heard. All of you listening to this and everybody in this fucking podcast needs to go find this album because this guy is criminally like unknown. I am using all my hipster points to get everybody to listen to this fucking album. It's called The Skeleton Man by Coyote Kid, and my God. Check this shit out. It's easy to find on YouTube.
That I brought up music because he's in an all-out sprint. He cannot be stopped.
Bro, I need.
When he gets going, he very rarely stops. That's like that's the fun part of the podcast. We get Cody on something. He's like, "Yo, man, let me tell you about Sonic." Oh, here we go. By the way, I got a HoloLive update here. HoloLive Super Expo 2025 figure update. Now we're going to have Nindoroids of Iris, Crony, Mume, and Bales. Almost all of Promise. Unfortunately, Fauna graduated, so I guess they took hers off the list. Which is sad,
also, but... based correct take in chat. Yes, Killer Instinct is one of the best fighting games ever made. It's one of the best fighting game soundtracks ever made. It is quite literally the only fighting game not made by SNK that's at SNK level. Also get Killer Instinct, for God's sakes. It's like one of the best video games, fighting games. Holy shit. Mick Gordon. It's Mick Gordon before he did Doom. And arguably a lot of the tracks are better than what he did in Doom. And in some of them you can feel Doom's DNA. Fucking Fulgore's theme is like, is this Doom? No. But it became Doom. But yeah. That's another go out and get it from me. Killer Instinct, if you like fighting games. Based, I don't know how to say your name correctly, and you got a lot of Japanese in there, so I'll just say, you, sir, your opinion is correct. You have the correct opinion.
It's Rai Ryobe, I believe, is the proper way to pronounce
Rai
it.
Ryobe, yeah. Yeah, your opinion is correct, and everybody should listen to you.
And he's given us a lot of super chats tonight, which is also super based.
Yeah. This man's on a roll today. Anyway, I guess I've got too much joy.
Well, I'll tell you what brings me joy is that Johnny Somali is in deep shit in South Korea, and it gets worse every second.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Yeah, that's actually that's where Legal Mindset is right now.
I'm absolutely loving that. Did you guys see or hear that apparently he called Andrew the lolly mindset / the pedo mindset, which not good for him to be doing right now.
Well, he's just adding more charges because in South Korea, like in most Asian countries, defamation is taken very seriously.
And here's the thing: he's already pled guilty to some of these charges. Like right now, he's facing 5 years on the table, and not nearly all the charges have actually been tried yet.
Yeah, he found out.
Here's the thing.
He found out like 2 of them at court.
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering. So didn't he plead guilty thinking he was just going to get deported and then...
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason why is because he has a public defender. Yes, he did. But he whatever he thought, it doesn't really matter. He did not do a good job pleading guilty. Or maybe he did. I don't know how Koreans their law system works, but the charges that his own lawyer did not know about came from the east side of Korea, the eastern province, and most of his charges are from the western province. But that's apparently how that happened.
Interesting. So, I guess they're gonna have to figure out which district is going to if they're going to do them in both separately or they're going to merge them.
He committed perjury because when asked his occupation, he responded that he was a student.
Ah, that's, See, it astounds me just how stupid he is. Like he has all this false bravado, and yet everything he says is some of the dumbest, lowest IQ things you could possibly do, all at the exact same time. Like, imagine being as stupid as he is, and yet having all of this, like, false swagger.
He genuinely astounds me. Like, he has a level of sociopathy.
What I love is that he was also wearing a MAGA hat in court and was instructed twice to take it off.
Yeah, well, it's like Legal Mindset said, you know, he's doing what he thinks is going to piss off the most amount of people. If he thought that the Koreans would get angry about wearing a BLM hat, he'd be wearing a BLM hat.
Yeah, it's a level of sociopathy that surprises me, because I mean,
the fact that he's wearing a hat in court at all, like the hat could be MAGA, it could be BLM, it doesn't really matter what it says. Decorum dictates that you take off your hat.
Yeah, like Hulk Hogan wasn't allowed to wear his bandana in court, for instance.
Yeah, but like normally, you know, you've seen sociopaths before, but his is like a completely different breed, where it's like, it's just this, I will self-destruct as much as possible just to inconvenience you. Like, he would set himself on fire.
He is not a sociopath. He is somewhere, I would say he's probably closer to a obsessive-compulsive narcissist. So he's somebody who obsessively thinks about his image and believes falsely that the more he's being talked about, the more exposure he has, the better it is, just period. So it doesn't matter if he does bad or good, as long as he is being paid attention to. But that really goes to, I would say, more narcissistic personality disorder, because he's delusional when it comes to like accepting responsibility or even considering that he could have done something wrong.
It is that, but it's just the level that he will self-destruct just for like the pettiest reason. Like, again, he would set himself on fire if it would offend people around him. Not offend in, like, you know, the Twitter, like, did I offend you, Snowflake? No. If it would start shit, like, he would immolate himself. He would probably go that far. I mean, he's gotten his ass kicked how many times? Even a narcissist. I mean, Gator can attest. He knew a notable one.
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah, like, you get your ass kicked, and, you know, you don't want that to happen.
Narcissists are the type of people who would get in a fight with you and decide to get one up on you. They would go into the kitchen and slam their head in the counter until they become black and blue to call the cops on you.
But that's still some kind of winning.
Narcissists are the types of people who will take a beating just to make it about them.
But that's still some kind of winning in their eyes, in that they are weaponizing the police against you in that instance. Johnny Somali has been just beaten.
In Johnny's eyes, it is winning.
Like, I mean, yeah, obviously, but like, even a narcissist still has some kind of objective beyond just... I mean, again, we know, like, yeah, it's not like I don't get it. Like, it's that... It astounds me that we've never really seen such a self-destructive narcissist before. Like, we've seen self-destructive narcissists, but someone who's just like, the very fact that I'm being talked about at all is winning, so I will go so far as just getting my ass kicked on the daily.
Nuisance streamers like him. Like, what was that one guy's name who was actually getting charged? I think in the UK, he was making videos of him just like walking into people's houses and stuff.
But like, usually one or two ass kickings and they shut the fuck up.
For most of them. Well, like World of T-Shirts. Like World of T-Shirts got in trouble in Japan, and what did he do? He immediately got the heck out of Dodge. Like, most of these guys have just enough self-awareness to like immediately like stop what they're doing and GTFO. But Johnny is one of these, like he has the perfect blend of stupidity, narcissism, and shitty parenting that just created like the perfect storm of just this attention goblin that would do literally anything just to have people talking about him.
he's got like all his points in narcissism and 0 points in self-preservation. It's like nothing we've ever seen before, and it's almost a work of art in the field of shitty people.
He's Hoodweeb personified.
He's a spot in the Pieces of Shit Museum. Like, yeah, there's
right next to Bam Margera.
Well, no, Bam Margera, we've seen that story play out. It's not a unique piece of shit. He is such a unique piece of shit that there are worse people than Johnny Somali, but there is no one that quite blends his awful personality traits in the way that he blends them. Like, he's not technically as bad as like a mass murderer, but we've seen mass murderers. We know what makes a mass murderer. But Johnny Somali, there's like, that's a rare breed of piece of shit. It's a rare breed. Because even these imitators that are coming after him now, I guarantee some of these other Nuisance streamers.
It does remind me of that Bill Burr bit when Bill Burr's talking about hearing Kanye West, and he hears Kanye West and goes, "Oh my God, that's Hitler rhetoric. Oh my God." He's like, "Oh, thank God he's black." Because if that had floated into somebody with power, it could have ended up really bad.
The thing with the Kanye West is just mentally ill and surrounded by people that are just making it worse. So I don't put too much stock in him. He's like an arty guy with mental illness. So he keeps making these statements.
I would classify Johnny Somali as mentally ill. There's something different kind of mentally not ill. Right there.
As Desert, like Kanye is the kind of mentally ill where it's like you feel bad for him. Like, yeah, he needs help and a good support structure, and he does not have that. Whereas Johnny Somali, if he had a good support structure, he would just hurt all those people too. Like, he is just human poison. He's just one of those people that it's like the human race would be better off without you, but we can't kill you, so we just gotta. What can we do to mitigate the damage you'll do?
Lock you up for a couple of years until people forget about you, and then no one's going to care.
Yeah, and that's why let him kind of.
That's why this is such a big deal that he might actually get some real jail time.
Well, I mean, look, what he needs is he needs to be institutionalized for a couple years, so he has the discipline of a schedule, of a habit, of a routine, and also 2 years for a streamer, your ancient history. So when he comes out, he will hopefully retain the discipline he obtained in prison and not have the audience that would instantly cause him to fall back into his negative patterns.
Well, see, the thing is, he will say and do whatever it takes. Like, there's nothing genuine and sincere about this man. We've seen it before. So he would go into an institution and just know what the institution wants to see and then just do that. He can mask like a motherfucker. But, I mean, yeah, you're right. What he needs is just be locked up for a while until his career dies. And then let him
mask in prison. Trust me, you cannot mask in prison.
Well, he can do the good behavior thing. And I think he just, let him go away for a while, long enough till he's not relevant. He'll come back, desperately try for relevance. He'll fail, and then he'll probably get addicted to some shit and then end up under a bridge somewhere, and we won't have to deal with him. So that's the best case scenario.
One would only hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to. I mean, we've been talking about Nuisance streaming and IRL streams for a really long time. I mean, I remember back in 2018, during the heyday of the streams back in that era, it was Ice Poseidon and Baked Alaska, and they were doing IRL streams, and that got the ball rolling on a lot of that stuff. And we go back, and it's the same exact people. Of course, Baked Alaska famously got in trouble for pressing, quote unquote, a bouncer.
Yeah, I think Nuisance streaming really got huge in America, and where it became a problem is when it broke into the international arena, when people started taking this behavior to other countries where it's just not the same.
Exactly. Yeah, where they have much different laws than in America, where you're a guest in their country, so you don't actually have a right to be there. It's a privilege, and that privilege can be taken away. And they don't always follow the letter of the law in some of those countries. And
you know, you put your life in your own hands when you screw around like that. You might get an ass whooping from a cop if you if you say the wrong things or start acting like a fool. You know, I know famously, you know, Legal Mindset talks a lot about Thailand. If you mess around in Thailand, you could you put your life in your own hands, you know. And a lot of these nuisance streamers, they don't really understand that until they're already in deep shit. And then it's like, oh God, how do I get out of this mess? I really hope that places pass more laws to just kind of end the nuisance streaming epidemic, because it's only going to get worse from here.
And they have a network where they will actually they will make sure that they only are in countries or areas of countries that are proven entities in terms of safety, and they communicate with each other. Hey, this place is all right to stream. You're not going to get in serious trouble here. You know, it's been confirmed that Johnny Somali and some nuisance streamers in Japan have been communicating, and they've been trying to get them to come to South Korea. And so it's like there's this weird network of them that do their best to make sure that where they stream is relatively safe. It's not completely, obviously, we've seen Johnny Somali get his ass kicked, but it's not like life threatening.
Well, and that's why it's so important for South Korea to give him serious jail time, because it sends a message to all of the other nuisance streamers like, hey, you can't come into South Korea, you can't come into this country and do a bunch of stupid shit and not have consequences for it. And the more countries will do that, including America, by the way.
What I'm hoping it'll do is it will send the message out before someone dies.
Yeah, because that's the direction that this is heading, is that they're putting their life in their own hands when they go out and they piss people off for attention and super berries. One of these days, they're going to be doing that, and somebody's going to have a weapon.
Look, you go out to Mexico and you run your mouth, someone's going to pull out a machete and fucking kill you.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's the kind of stuff that's going to happen. And, you know, it is important for there to be a line drawn in the sand. So it's like, yeah, we're going to stop this stuff. This is ridiculous. We got a super chat here from Rai Ryobe, said for $13.99 Canadian, says, last one for tonight. Nuisance streaming isn't new, but ever since lockdown was lifted, they were flooding foreign countries because they think people in those countries won't fight back, especially Asia. Yeah, and they learned very, very quickly that there is a line, and if you cross it, they will kick your ass. Just because they're nice and polite doesn't mean they don't know how to whoop ass.
Well, they're exploiting like Japanese
goodwill towards Westerners, yeah.
Yeah, and them generally being not polite, because like even like you go to, there's a reason they left America to do this, because in America you will get your ass kicked, or at very least you will not be tolerated.
Right.
Japan has more of a look the other way, you know, just walk away, don't engage kind of thing. That's to their detriment, I think. A lot of their subway problems could be stopped if more people kicked more people's asses, but I mean, these motherfuckers are exploiting that, and now it's going to get worse because Johnny Somali got away with it for so long that so many of these other leeches, these societal parasites, are now going to Japan and trying to do the same goddamn thing he was doing. And as people have pointed out, it's going to get to the point where it's going to ruin Japan for the rest of any other foreigner wanting to visit, where it's like every other business is now going to say no foreigners because of this shit.
Yeah, I like this line in chat. Hospitality is respect, not weakness. Exactly. And that's what they're mistaking it for. They think that, oh, these people are being nice because, you know, they're weak. But no, it's because they're trying to, you know, they're trying to show respect because they like Westerners generally. They want to, you know, they like having Westerners come and visit and just be nice, be good people, like you know, like they're being, you know, they want you to give them the same respect that they're giving you. That's like literally the whole point. And it pisses me off because, like you said, it's going to ruin going to Japan for other Westerners, because then they're going to see all these people being assholes, and they're going to say, wow, everybody from America just became a giant asshole, you know, and we're already seeing them change establishments so that Westerners aren't allowed in those establishments. and it sucks, and it's going to ruin being able to go and visit Japan for everybody else, because these assholes want to go around and do a bunch of fucked up stuff and piss people off for pennies on the dollar.
Pathetic. And they do all this shit, and they humiliate themselves in public for like little $5 and $10 donations. Like, hey, put your head in the toilet, loser. And they do it. It's the saddest. IRL streaming is just some of the saddest shit.
Well, and
saddest shit.
It's the saddest shit, and you see the saddest people. Like, that's their, like, whenever you're burning out and like you have nothing left to do in your career, like, you always become an IRL streamer. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to Andy Dick.
Yeah, like Andy Dick became a freaking IRL streamer.
That happens a lot.
Like, I mean, it's just, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. And
I had kind of a revelation. I realized that we didn't know how important to society that trash daytime TV was. Stuff like Jerry Springer and Maury Povich. Because they contained and isolated this aspect of humanity, this
they're
pathetic...
still going on. They still have Judge Mathis and stuff.
Yeah, but
because it runs in the house over here.
But
that being said, it is now past 11, and sadly, I have to be going because it is. I have to be up early.
It's the witching hour. Yeah, we were gonna.
For having me.
Yeah, we were gonna wrap up now anyway, because it's about 3 hours, and we usually like to try to wrap up at the 3 hour mark.
Yeah, I don't want to say real quick. It was those shows don't have the pull they used to, and they used to be the containment ground for like society's dregs that want to profit off their own shittiness. So you would go on one of these shows, and they would have a nice contained network setting, and then you have to follow the network rules, and we'll bleep you, and you got security guards. And now with these kind of shows sort of losing their power, all of that element of society's just been unleashed. It's like the sewage is just seeping into the streets now. The sewer mains have broke, and like all these IRL streamers are people that would have been on Jerry Springer and just would have gotten their Jerry Springer check, and we'd never hear from them again. And now they're in our face, and they're bothering us.
Yeah, and we can't get away from them.
It was a containment field, and the containment field had been broken, and now they've been unleashed upon the populace.
I mean, in another life, Bad Bobby would have just been an IRL streamer.
Daytime television where he did lie detector tests, but he was bald. He used to be a security guy, but he would like throw chairs and shit at people.
I'm not sure. That doesn't sound familiar. Might be mixing things. The bald reminds me of like the famous security guard from Jerry Springer, but I don't think that's it.
Someone in chat might remember. But I think I vaguely know what you're talking about.
Dr. Phil?
Was it Dr. Phil?
Are you thinking of Dr. Phil? He didn't throw chairs, but...
Yeah, I don't remember him throwing a chair, but was it the guy that talks like this and wears the suit?
No, this was Boondocks did a parody of the guy. No, he's like, you're a piece of shit, I hope you die, kind of thing.
Yeah,
the Steve Wilkos show.
Oh, that sounds vaguely familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Wilkos show. Yeah, I see it.
Yes, your Dr. Phil sounds a lot like Hank Hill. Chad is pointing out.
It is.
Steve Wilkos.
That's because I do a Hank Hill impression. I tell you what.
Jerry Springer.
Well, I'll tell you what, we need to start wrapping up this stream, because Ava's got to leave.
If we don't get out of here soon, Bobby's going to turn into a pumpkin. Blah.
I do. Thank you very much for having me. I'd love to be on again, but I do need to go.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Eva. That is Elfpire Eva, or Elfpire VT on Twitter. You can also find her on YouTube as Elfpire Eva and check out her mixtape.
Still want to hear you try speed 'em.
Check out my mixtape. All right, you guys have a lovely night.
You too, Eva.
I will. I have to listen to it still, though.
I'll DM it to you.
That was a fun interview. / discussion,
but guest having guest appearance. Yeah.
See, that's I've been trying to reach out and bring in a lot more guests of varying varieties, from the VTuber sphere to just random people that I've known for a long time, and it's a lot of fun. You never know what you're going to see on Anime Boomers. We could be talking about Dragon Ball Daima, or we could be talking about philosophy, something crazy. See, I like to think that the Anime Boomers podcast is basically what Trash Taste pretends to be and isn't.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of had our own Hassan on when what was that guy the other day?
Oh, Miles Poland, yeah.
Miles. I remember it's like a regular name but with a Y in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Miles back from the he used to be on the show called The Godcast way back in the day. Yeah, he's an old acquaintance of mine.
Yes. I like that every episode we do is like different depending on the guest too. It's like whatever discussions we veer off into will usually be guest dependent.
Yeah, chat said boomers and zoomers.
You never know what you're gonna get here on the Anime Boomers podcast.
Right, exactly. And that's ultimately kind of what I like. I said at the beginning of the show, like, a lot of the vibe of the show was kind of built off of Space Ghost Coast to Coast, and just like the funny banter and the random moments.
Every time I move my arm, it costs the Cartoon Network $42.
I'm a knife, knifing around. I to see how long I could do it before I got tongue tied, and there it was.
Zorak, get out of there!
No!
I just love that. I'm gonna marathon some Space Ghost Coast to Coast now.
Hell yeah. So what was the purpose for sanding my face off?
God, I'm gonna.
Fuck, man.
I miss that show so much. Man, those are some great voices. Good. Thank you. I try. I've in another life I would have been a non-shitty voice actor, and then gotten canceled because I'm too based. Well, I think that's a good point to start wrapping up the show. We're at about the 3-hour mark and 3 minutes now. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Elfpire Eva for hopping on the stream and visiting us. I want to thank Cody as well, my longtime co-host. He runs the Buyerworks Twitter account where you can commission art right now. He's trying to buy his girlfriend a wedding ring so he can propose to her and get married and be like a normal, productive member of society and follow the words of Shinzo Abe.
I'm trying to do it, Shinzo. I'm trying to do it, man. I need that ring. I just bought a house, so like tax returns, gotta go there. Gotta go to good old mortgage and bills and all that. So trying to get that ring. So hey, you need art. I am damn good at it, and I'm quick and efficient. Ask anybody else that's commissioned me. I get that shit done. I am not like the artist Kirsha has ranted about. I get that shit done, and I get it done. I keep you up to date and get it done in a timely manner. And if you gotta wait a while, I'll let you know. Hey, I'm in the middle of something else. We'll begin at this date, and then at that point, I will begin sending you the progress reports and all that. So I'm a professional. If you need some art, you know who to call.
Would you like some art? What are you buying? What are you selling?
Hey kid, you want some art? I'm gonna pull my jacket. Just no porn, no fetishes, no trolls. That's it. That's my only. Anything else is fair game. I don't give a fuck. Just no porn, no fetishes, no trolls.
Exactly. And he also draws the webcomic Cloud Scratcher. That's cloudscratcher.com. If you love Saturday morning cartoons from yesteryear, that's your vibe, and he's gonna sell it to you.
Hell yeah, it's like Saturday morning cartoon with plot and lore. If you like Tailspin, something like that, and like that, but like plot and lore, I got you covered. And you know what? It's a comic series. This nice long running comic series. Been doing this shit for like over a decade. It's like a little side hustle while I've been working on other stuff. And you know what? It's a nice long running comic series. No bullshit. Ain't no politics. Ain't no fetishes. Ain't no weird messages. Nah, just straight up fucking adventure. You want to go on a fucking adventure? I got a fucking adventure for you. Cloudscratcher.com. No frills, no bullshit. You're gonna get in there. You're gonna feel like a kid again, sitting on the fucking on the carpet with your cereal in your lap, staring up at the TV. You're gonna love it.
All right, and I
go from farm to superpower. No, it started at the adventure. I did not start it with furries on a farm and then transition to fucking Naruto.
All right, and I'm, of course, Gator, the guy that presses the buttons and makes the show operate, whose computer decided to try to die halfway through the show. I stream on YouTube at youtube.com/thegatorgamer. If you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, you can find the video version of this podcast at youtube.com/animeboomers. And I'm also on Twitch, twitch.tv/thegatorgamer. I don't know why I stream on there, but I do. I'm trying to diversify my platforms because there's not really any reason to stream to just one. And I don't just stream to just the one, just the two, but I also stream to x.com/thegatorgamer and kick.com/gatortime. Why did I choose Gatortime? Why not?
Damn. You can't get rid of Gator. He's in your walls.
I'm in your walls. I'm eating your Wi-Fi right now.
He's in your walls playing Final Fantasy VII.
Yes, and I'm at Costa del Sol. So I'm roughly halfway through Final Fantasy VII, and if it wasn't for work crushing my soul this week, I probably would have streamed some. I also have Mecha Break. I'm part of the Mecha Break beta. I was actually part of the closed beta, but I couldn't stream that, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to stream some Mecha Break at some point sometime soon too, but I do want to finish Final Fantasy VII, damn it. I'm too far in. I'm in the hole. I have to get out. Get these motherfucking gators off my wall.
Waiting for you to be free so I can finally subject you to King of Fighters.
Yes, we do need to do that stream. I have it like on a sticky note. It's like ask VTubers if you could borrow their models. I don't VTubers are very particular about that, so I don't know how well that's going to work. The one VTuber I asked
for those
said they would not be okay with it, which is fine.
For those who don't know, we're going to be doing a challenge where I am going to be taking Gator all throughout the magical world of King of Fighters, from KOF 94 all the way to the current one, where he is going to have to overcome the infamous KOF SNK bosses, where he will have the option to quit. But if he quits, he must do a punishment, where he must skinwalk as an anime girl, either an existing VTuber or a generic model, and I will write for him a very embarrassing things to read as the VTuber girl that he must read, and for everybody to clip. So that will be like his pride is on the line in more ways than one. If he quits, if he said, I can't beat this boss, well, there's only one way to quit and go to the next game, and that's he's going to have to put his pride on the line. But if he can get through an entire saga, because as you may know, KOF is very story heavy and it has multiple sagas that take up like 3 or 4 games. If he can get through an entire saga without quitting, I must do the punishment.
Yeah, so I like that. Quits, no, and then yes.
So that's what we're planning. So we just got to get Gator. Like we got some ones. Most of it are going to be like generic. So I don't know if you got like a generic anime girl like skin to wear for the most of the punishments, but for a couple of them,
VTube Studio comes with a few, and there's VR Chat has a couple that you can download, but I do kind of want to ask permission before I use those, because I don't want that to like hit them out of left field and be like, oh yeah.
But I mean, like we're doing like there's a couple of them where I want it because Gator's got he knows a few VTubers, on the down low, and I was like, see if you can talk to them and like let you skinwalk them as your punishment thing, like make Gator do an unflattering impression of these people just to put a little bit more on the line. Like, oh, you really don't want to quit against Magaki, or you'll have to read it as her and say the embarrassing lines in her voice. So a little bit more on the line than just, oh, the video game is hard.
Not just pride. So friendships will be tested.
Exactly. Pride will be on the line, but not in the way that pride is usually on the line in something like this. So we got that cooking in the oven.
Yep, and hopefully in the next like 2 months or so, we'll be able to get those streams going. Once I finish Final Fantasy VII, for sure, we'll be able to focus more time on that. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm going to send you guys on over to Armchair Expert. Right now he's going through the Twitch Rivals disaster where they tried to screw over Doki Bird, and actually she wasn't even able to play in the tournament they invited her to play in because Twitch is stupid. So definitely go say hi to Armchair Expert. Podcast right after that's just going to be Anime Boomer and just one of you left. I will be a smoldering crater on the ground after getting killed by every VTuber. All right, everybody, go say hi to Armchair Expert. I want to thank Elfpire Eva for coming on the stream, and Cody Byer, as always, as my longtime co-host. We will see you guys in 2 weeks for the next episode. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.
Hey, master.